Come with me if you want to live.
Are you not entertained? Isn't that why you are here?
This is it. Don't get scared.
Hello and welcome back to a brand new Flick Pick live show, Sunday night edition. How are you guys doing? Thank you so much for joining me once again. And this is going to be a fully loaded live show. There is too much to talk about, and there's a few things I had to leave out just for the sake of I didn't have time to prepare to talk about it. But I will announce this very quickly. Party poppers are back tonight. Get ready. This is it. Don't get scared now. And I have enough party poppers to last me for the next 3 decades. So we're going to be partying for a lifetime. But in this brand new live show, a few things I want to talk about before we dive into your questions, and feel free to ask anything and everything right now, and we will get to those glorious, juicy, magical, and mystical questions momentarily. But a few topics tonight we're going to dive into is Batman 2. The script is finally finished. I want to talk all about that. I want to talk about Megan 2.0 very, very quickly. Then I want to talk about Squid Game Season 3 that just concluded, and no one's talking about it. And don't worry, I won't dive into spoilers, but we're going to cover some of my overall thoughts on the final season of Squid Games. And then I want to talk about the upcoming new James Bond movie and who might just be playing the secret 00 agent. Is it going to be Tom Holland? Is it going to be some other guy? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But we'll talk all about it. And then we're going to talk about, or actually, we're not even going to talk about it. I'm finally going to announce the winner of the Jaws 4K Blu-ray that I mentioned in the last live show. So stick around for that. And then after all that, we will dive into your questions. So without further ado, what do you say we just lay by the bay, roll around in some hay, play with some clay, we just may. What do you say? Are you guys looking forward to Happy Gilmore too? I don't know. All right. So the first question of the day, actually it's not really a question. Let's just dive into the topics. It's been a long day. All right. So the first topic I want to talk about on this glorious new live show is the Batman 2 script has finally been completed by director Matt Reeves. Now, this has taken some time, and if you ask me, it's taken a little bit too long, but hey, sometimes perfection takes time to create, and I can respect that. And I know Matt Reeves has been going through a lot of personal issues. I've been there. I feel his pain. I understand procrastination probably better than anyone else, okay? So with all that said, though, can we hurry up with the Batman movie? Because Robert Pattinson, this young upcoming Batman / Bruce Wayne, well, I mean, he's about to be like 50 years old. So I don't know how much longer that's going to work for the role. But anyway, Matt Reeves released this photo of the script, and there he is in the background there looking all cool and chill. He wears his sunglasses inside, but hey, I would too when you're talking about a vigilante of the night. And supposedly, this movie is going to start filming sometime later this year, early next year, and it has a tentative release date of 2027. Now, keep in mind, the first Batman, The Batman, came out in March 2022. So this is going to be over a 5-year gap for the next installment. Now, if you're expecting there to be a Batman 3 or a trilogy for Matt Reeves, I probably wouldn't get your hopes up. I was half blown away that we finally got the script. I was waiting for any day now for them to officially cancel this project. And the only reason I say that is with James Gunn ramping up the new DC universe with the upcoming Superman movie in a couple weeks, I really did not think they wanted to go forward with this movie. I thought they were going to cancel it, but I feel like the outrage from fans would be overwhelming and be sort of a disservice or a detriment to anything that they try to do with Batman. Put it this way: if they try to make another Batman movie before this one, I think the outrage of the internet would be so overwhelming it would sort of overshadow that new movie and have sort of a sour taste in everyone's mouth, or at least I know I would feel that way. I'd feel slightly cheated. So if you're expecting a Batman 3 in this trilogy, unless they're going to wait until 2030 and then go beyond that with another I don't see it happening. I think this will be the final outing, and I think this might just wrap up Robert Pattinson's incarnation of the Caped Crusader, unless they're shooting part 2 and 3 back to back, but I highly doubt that. I think they're going to give us part 2 and say, hey, we did what we could, take it or leave it, and then they're going to move on to a more fantastical Batman going forward. But anyway, the script is finally complete. This comes with... it had a co-writer on the script here. Mattson Tomlin, who is the co-writer of the script. Now, the biggest question I have for you guys... in the Batman 2, who do you want to see become the villain? Do you want Mr. Freeze? Do you want Bane? Do you want Barry Cogan's Joker, which I don't? He just looks like a dude who has syphilis pouring out of his mouth cavity. No, thank you. I don't really need to see that incarnation of the Joker up on the big screen. And plus, it's not going to be better than what we've already previously had. So I'm okay if they don't redo the Joker. But I would like to maybe see a new incarnation of Scarecrow, Mr. Freeze. I'm sure the Riddler will come back. And then I would like to see Bane. And a lot of people for a very long time have wanted to see the Court of Owls. In my opinion, I don't think them as an antagonist or a main antagonist in a new Batman movie would be all that intriguing or interesting whatsoever. The Court of Owls are essentially just a group of Gotham elitists, the rich people who control everything behind the scenes in Gotham, and they're corrupt. So really, I mean, is that really what you want to see Batman go up against? Because I feel like he's already sort of been doing that in every movie, if you really think about it. I mean, the entire city of Gotham is corrupt, so... I don't know, just solidifying it with a group of people called the Court of Owls, I never thought that was an intriguing storyline. But hey, if it wants to be like a subplot, I can live with that. But what say you guys? Novasonic says Mr. Freeze, but the same quality as a story in the animated series. Oh, I get it, absolutely. Keep in mind, Mr. Freeze was never interesting until the animated Batman series in the 1990s made him interesting. Before that, he was just a guy who was cold. The Batman animated series added the entire plot around him doing these crimes to save his life, who he was keeping on ice to look for a cure to heal her. So Richard Santana says, Mad Hatter, he was awesome in the video games. Court of Owls was teased in the Penguin, so maybe. Yeah, I could see them probably doing it. I'm sure the Penguin will probably come back, played by Colin Farrell. Imagine there's an Eyes Wide Shut moment in Batman 2 where with the Court of Owls. Now that is an interesting take, my good friend. Now, let's tease this for a minute. Now, if you've never seen Eyes Wide Shut, you have Tom Cruise, and he's hanging out with these social elites. They're basically sort of a cult, and they all wear masks, sort of like the Court of Owls. And there's one moment where he goes to one of their dinner parties and he has to stand in front of all of them. And everyone's wearing a mask. And then you hear this voice resonate from the back who says, "Take it off." Now imagine if the Batman is put into that same predicament where he has to unveil himself to the Court of Owls. That could be interesting, but it sounds like an Eyes Wide Shut copy and paste. Bane was also teased in the Batman. Kind of. They did introduce the adrenaline that Batman uses that does look quite like Venom, the green goo that Bane pumps into his veins to get that ultimate pump. But I would like to see a new interpretation of Bane. That's just my personal favorite. I want someone with physical callus that can go up against Batman, who also has intelligence and wears a luchador mask. So, hey, I'm just happy we're finally at least getting to the point where the Batman 2 might start filming soon. And the fact that they have a script and they announced it. James Gunn actually came out and said, yeah, I see the script, but I haven't read it yet. So that, in a way, tells me two things. First and foremost, it says that James Gunn doesn't have some kind of weird tyrant control over what they're going to do with the script of Batman 2, which I think is very, very good. Because if they were trying to somehow connect this with his universe and twist and turn things to make it coexist, I think that would be a terrible idea. So the fact that James Gunn has no creative input on this movie, I think is for the best. I think it should be a standalone thing. And then James Gunn can do whatever he wants with his version of Batman in that universe in a couple years. So I think James Gunn putting out that statement was sort of saying, hey, it exists. I have nothing to do with it, but I'm happy it's there. So if that's the case, I'm cool with that. All right. So yeah, those are my quick thoughts on the Batman script, or the Batman 2 script and the movie coming out. I'm happy we're finally getting it at some point in life because it feels like it's been 84 years. Okay, let's go to the next topic here. And the next main topic I want to dive into, and this will be very, very quick. If only we were so lucky with the movie. And that next main topic is Megan 2.0. Now, I saw this movie on Thursday, and when it comes to the first Megan movie, I thought it was fine. I thought there was some fun to be had. And the thing that worked with that was it was a comedy horror film that sort of took the formula of Chucky and made it a bit lighter. And I thought that was kind of a cool idea. And then you have Megan, who's this cyborg AI robotic Terminator murdering machine who does quirky dance moves that now everyone on TikTok does them. And then Universal Fright Nights also have someone that does those moves for 24 hours straight when you go there, and then everyone records it, especially like older men who want to stand around with a little girl and dance with her, which is just weird in my opinion, kind of weird. But when it comes to this new Megan 2.0 movie, I thought some of the ideas were intriguing. I liked that they were changing up the genre just a little bit. They definitely got rid of the horror elements, and then they sort of introduced this 1990s action movie vibe to it. It's like a throwback to like Big B action movies that would star Steven Seagal, like Under Siege or something. And I can appreciate things like that. I really can. And I feel like this movie had glimmers of good ideas and entertainment. And I like that Megan in this one sort of becomes like a good Terminator, sort of like what the T-800 Arnold's Terminator did in T2 Judgment Day, where he's reprogrammed to be a protector. They sort of do that same thing with Megan this time around. And then they have this ultra realistic cyborg chick who's the villain of the film, who also, speaking of that, she looked like the Terminator from the third Terminator movie, Terminator 3. Let's find her here. Yes, she sort of looked like her right here, who was the villain in the third Terminator. So there's that. Take it or leave it. But when it comes to this movie, I think it was way too long for what they had to say and what they had to do. It's 2 hours long, and this is the type of movie that should be 90 minutes at most, okay? Because it just dragged and dragged. The first 25 minutes of the movie are just boring. You could sum it all up in probably a 5-minute montage sequence. And I really didn't like Megan that much in this movie. There's a joke about a yeast infection, which I think was like the comedic laugh out loud moment of the movie. But when it comes to Megan in the film, there's at one point she does get an upgrade. And in that upgrade, they basically just make her taller, and she looks the same, except her head is now the size of Hey Arnold's. It looks like a pumpkin. It looks like she's wearing a mascot head, and she just has like a human body. It was so disproportionate that I found it unbecoming. Like, I just did not like that. She's having a conversation and her head's literally this big. And I'm just like, that's not what I wanted to see with this movie. And I don't think a lot of people are enjoying this movie. There's no conversation around it. No one's really saying it's good. And I think if you were a fan of the original Megan, I don't think you're going to be that big of a fan of this sequel because it needed that horror element to it. It needed that tone. And I think that's what the original movie hinged on so much. But then you have to ask yourself this. What else do you do with the character Megan once you make her so likable? That horror element doesn't quite work anymore. So what did you guys think about Megan 2.0? My best advice is you don't really need to watch this movie, but if you want to, save it for a rainy day, watch it at home with some frozen pizza on streaming, or just wait until it hits Netflix and don't pay for it and watch it there. I'm sure it'll be there sooner than later because I don't think it's doing all that well at the box office, but I could be wrong. All right. The movie guy says, I've never seen the Megan movie. And you know what? To be honest with you, I watched it once and I don't really ever feel the urge or the need to watch it twice. I didn't think it was that good. I just found it mildly entertaining. And I thought it was kind of a fun concept, but yeah, I would never probably watch it again. Oh, and by the way, the other thing is, since they made this sort of an action movie, it's like, yeah, they make it an action movie from the 1990s at times, and it is a parody of that, but it feels so cheap, and even the action is a bit underwhelming. I thought they would really push the limitations and go for it, like show her just beating everyone to a pulp and ripping their heads off and doing chaotic stuff on the screen. But they don't really ever even go that extreme with it, which I thought was sort of a disservice to the film. I mean, if you're going to go for it, go for it. Make it gory. But yeah, it just sort of, it's an instantly forgettable movie. Okay, let's go to the next topic here. Makano says, got my frozen pizza cooking as we speak. Enjoy that. I want you to eat it as you look at my face. So thank you for that. Do a reboot on Reagan 3.0. Megan was my favorite movie. So they copy T2, then do a bad mock of it. Basically, that's what it is. That's basically the way to sum it up. But now let's talk about something I did enjoy. And that is going to be, we finally got season 3 of Squid Games, and it is concluded. So we will probably, well, we're not probably, we will be seeing a spin-off, an American version of Squid Game, which is produced by David Fincher, and I believe they start filming it this December. Now, no spoilers on season 3 of Squid Game. No spoilers. I just want to talk about some of my overall thoughts on it. And when it comes to Squid Game, it's probably one of my favorite series in the last 5 years. It's so odd and weird and surreal to me, and it goes into the crevices of my brain, and really it expands on everything I already assume about humanity, and it sort of explores the extreme economic inequality between people and society and how desperate people can truly become. And these are all things in human nature that truly exist, but I feel like this series has always capitalized on it and shown it for what it is. And I've always loved it for that. Maybe I'm weird, maybe that's dark, maybe that's morbid, but I'm going to stand by it. But when it comes to Squid Games, just the look of it, I love when they finally go into the games and you have this pastel-colored children's environment, but the contrast to that is everyone is brutally murdering each other for financial gain. I think it's brilliant. And the other thing about it is it's a South Korean series, written and directed, and there's something about that society that it's so alien to me that it works. I think it's and the reason I say that is if they do in fact make an Americanized version of Squid Games, I just don't feel like if you have Americans in this same story with the same formula, it just does not work as well. The cultural differences are just, I think the divide is so wide, it won't feel like Squid Games anymore. That's my take on it. But anyway, that doesn't mean I don't want to see it. I hope it's good. Because if you watch season 3, they definitely sort of lead into what the spinoff could potentially be. But it felt a bit forced with what they did with it. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, in season 3, which we just got season 2 6 months ago, so I'm glad they didn't make us wait too long, there were 6 episodes, right? It came out Friday, and my wife and I spent all night Friday binging this entire series, all 6 episodes. So 6 hours of Squid Games. And by the end of it, or Squid Game, by the end of it, my eyes, I needed I was literally holding them open to finish it. It felt like a game in Squid Game. Which, by the way, I really feel like I could at least survive until like round 3 or 4. But if it was up to me, I'd be like, okay, how much money does everyone have? We got $1 million each? Let's get out of here. I'm good. But then again, human desperation and greed would kick in, and I want to be the sole survivor to get the most money. So just putting that out there. Some people might be divisive on this. I thought the ending was logical as much as it could be, because keep in mind, in Squid Game, there's no such thing as an ultra happy ending. It's always going to be bittersweet. So I liked some of the choices they made. Ji-hoon, who is player 456 and the main character, I liked what they did with this character. I did. Ultimately, I felt like it made sense for his character. And I feel like maybe they could have twisted and turned a few things to maybe make mass audiences a bit happier, but I liked it. Also, if you kept up with the previous season, you know player 222, well, she was pregnant and about to have a baby. So that entire concept I thought was pretty terrifying, what they did with that and how they expanded on it. And putting a baby in the games just added an element of uneasiness that I think really enhanced it. And that's the other thing I like about Squid Game. The show makes you feel uneasy. And a lot of people don't want that. They usually seek out happy-go-lucky shows about, mindless things that, but I like the uneasiness of it. I like being put on edge. The thing about this new season, though, once again, the worst part about it is when they finally introduce the, not the front man, but the, what is it called? The rich white people who stand around and watch the games from a distance. Anyway, that was sort of the worst part of it. And I think it's that episode, those 2 episodes are probably the worst. The VIPs, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the VIP episodes are always the worst in these series. So what do you guys think about Squid Games Season 3? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it fulfilling? The baby in Squid Game looked like AI. Listen, when you try to digitize a small child, it's not going to look perfect, especially in a TV series. I thought what they did with the CGI baby was fine. It was definitely better than what they did with the American Sniper baby, the Clint Eastwood movie, who just looked like a little plastic baby doll. Let's find this. American Sniper baby. There it is. Let's look at this thing. Yeah, let's look at this thing. Look at that. It's literally just like it's a plastic baby doll that you'd buy at Walmart for like $9.99. That thing was it was so rigid it didn't even move once. Clearly the props department dropped the ball on that one. But I thought the baby looked fine in Squid Game Season 3. I thought it was fine. You only see its face like 3 times, so it was fine. But I will say this. A few cool things I liked about it were, I thought 2 of the games were very well done. And do you guys care if I talk about the games, or is that too spoilerish? I'll just leave it here. There was a lot of speculation and rumors and theories on what the games were going to be in this new season. And I will say, I feel like all of those theories and rumors were completely wrong with what we were expecting. Like, people thought they were going to have monkey bars or play chess, and they didn't do any of that shit. So I did like the first 2 games that they played. I think the finale, the final game, it was fulfilling and kind of cool. But I liked the first 2 games much more, and especially the second game. that they had to play, where I won't say too much about it, but they sort of have to cross a bridge, but it is a children's game of sorts. And I thought that was a very, very intense episode. But yeah, I love this series, and I am interested to check out the American version of it. But what do you guys think about it? The other thing I wanted to say, another reason I think I like this show so much, going back to the aesthetics of it, is it features a lot of liminal spaces. And if you don't know what a liminal space is, it's sort of that weird space that you would see in a hallway or a waiting room, and it looks like a space that you're not supposed to live in, but it should only exist to serve another purpose. Do you guys know what liminal spaces are? We can talk about it for the next 5 hours if you'd like, but I'll show you. Yeah, liminal spaces are this right here. You sort of have like weird hallways or stuff like this. You know, it's there's something wrong about it that messes with the human psychology that's going on in your brain. It makes you feel uneasy, and that's what Squid Game does. It's nothing but liminal spaces, and I think that also draws me to it. I love useless hallways that you can walk down. For some odd reason, it just puts me at ease. I don't know what that says about me, but we'll just leave it there. Caesar says that's too stressful. JB says it really was season 2, part 2, not season 3. Well, we're going to call it season 3. It was definitely season 2, part 2, but for the sake of argument, we will just call it season 3. And the weird thing about it is, no one's talking about it. Like, I've seen nothing on the internet of people talking about Squid Game season 3. At least on YouTube, I haven't seen much talk about it. So, I don't know why that is. Maybe people haven't finished watching it yet, or maybe they don't even know it exists, but I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, Milos says it's almost dreamlike. Yeah, it's surrealism, and I like that. Okay, let's go to the next main topic here. And the next main topic we're going to talk about is we're getting a brand new James Bond movie. And the cool thing about this is it's going to be directed by no other than Denis Villeneuve. I always say his name wrong. Don't even correct me at this point. Or is it Denis Villeneuve? Anyway, the director of Sicario and Dune will be directing the upcoming James Bond movie. And you know what? I'm very happy about that. Because if it couldn't be Christopher Nolan, I think this is the right director for the job. And for the reasons I just said, Sicario. Just step back and look at the aesthetics. Look at the way that's shot, directed, and filmed. The way it's paced. I just rewatched it the other day. And that sequence where Emily Blunt they're in a convoy and they're driving down to Mexico to pick up the crime lord cartel leader to bring him back to the U.S. The suspense during that scene where they're just cruising through the streets of Mexico and everyone's on edge and anything that can go wrong is probably going to go wrong. Oh man, that is intense. That is an anxiety-driven sequence. And I hope that they can bring that same kind of tone and feeling to the new James Bond movies, which I think they need. Also, don't forget the way that he filmed the the thermal scene towards the end of Sicario, where it's all filmed with thermal cameras. I liked that quite a bit as well. I would love to see something like that in a new James Bond movie. Now, here's the group of actors that are sort of being teased right now, and these are just rumors, but you have Tom Holland, Jacob Elordi, and then you have Harris Dickinson, who I don't know who these other two guys are. I probably have seen them in a movie or a TV show. I think somebody's in Euphoria, maybe. I don't know. And, you know, the other two guys, what they're trying to do with this new incarnation of James Bond, which is also being, it's produced by Amazon, so money is there's no limitations on budget when it comes to this movie. It's Amazon, okay? They can spend $3 billion on the movie. It doesn't matter. And I think that's cool. I like that. But anyway, what do you guys think about Tom Holland possibly being the next James Bond? For me, that just feels like a little boy playing dress up in a tuxedo. he's not ready for it yet. And plus, listen, nothing against people of short stature or nothing against short people, okay? But Tom Holland, I think, is like 5'7", and that works for a lot of different characters, Spider-Man included. Makes perfect sense. But if James Bond walks up and he's 5'7", I don't know about that shit. I'm just putting it out. I don't know if I can buy that. If I see James Bond walking around in high heels, stilettos, no, thank you. So I like me some Tom Holland. I really do, quite a bit, but he's no James Bond. And plus, let's keep in mind, just a couple years ago, he was supposed to play another character in a movie called Uncharted, and his interpretation of Nathan Drake did not feel like Nathan Drake whatsoever to me. It felt like a little boy dressed up in cosplay going to Comic-Con. That's what it felt like to me. So him playing James Bond, the suave, sophisticated 00 agent, I'm not buying it. No way. These other two guys, I don't know, maybe. But what they're trying to do is get a young British actor under 30 years old for this role. But the thing is, I get where they're coming from, but I don't know. These look like little boys to me. And when Daniel Craig was cast in the role back in 2006, that looked like a man. That looked like James Bond to me. You know, Pierce Brosnan, he looks like a man to me. That's James Bond. These look like James Bonds for a Netflix James Bond series. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Do you guys like the supposed casting choices for the upcoming James Bond movie? Let me know down below. Makano says Bond is tall and elegant. Yes, he is. Shaken, not stirred. Or is it stirred, not shaken? Either one. I'll take it. And by the way, speaking of James Bond, I got my sexy Aston Martin right here. I got this bad boy a couple years ago. Check this out. Look at that. Super awesome. My only complaint with it is the side view mirrors always pop off. And actually, I think they popped off again. So I'll have to try to find those somewhere. But anyway, really cool. So those are my quick thoughts on the upcoming James Bond movie. I'm very happy with the director, and supposedly a few of the other directors involved were going to be Jonathan Nolan, who directed that really bad Hugh Jackman movie a couple years ago. What was that called? Like Premonition or something. It was a really bad movie. It was so forgettable I forgot what it was called. I think it came out straight to HBO Max in like 2021. Another director that was supposedly in the running for the new James Bond movie was Edgar Wright, which I think would be interesting, but I definitely think Denis Villeneuve is, I feel like I keep saying it wrong, is the right director for the job, even though I can't say his name right. So there's that. All right, guys. And the last main topic of the night I want to talk about before we get into those questions, and keep them coming. Keep bringing those questions. I want more of them. Give them to me now. The next main topic I do want to talk about is it's time. It's finally time for the Jurassic, or I'm sorry, I stand corrected. I've been talking about Jurassic Park so much today. It's time for the Jaws 4K, brand new copy, 50th Anniversary Edition, 4K Blu-ray, and I will be sending this to some lucky someone. So I said last week, all you had to do is leave a comment down below on the last live show, and I had randomly picked someone who said that they wanted this copy. So the only thing you had to do is say you wanted a copy of Jaws. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I have last week's video up. Here's all the comments down here. We had 105 comments under that last live show, so I'm going to randomly pick someone, and whoever's name is closest to the bottom of this screen right here will be the winner. But they have to say they wanted the Jaws 4K, okay? So I'm going to close my eyes, all right? I'm going to scroll up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Let's keep going. Okay, and let's pick the winner, and the winner is... Wait, who's the winner on here? Is it purple? Oh, it's Larry Larry Hugh 6396. Let's scroll on his name here. Come on. Yeah, I'm sorry. Larry Chu 6396. You are the winner. So what you got to do, man, is email me at johnflickchannel@gmail.com. The email address is down below. Email me from your Google account that you left the comment on, and I'll get your address and whatnot, and I'll send you the 4K copy. So congratulations to Larry Chu! Yay! All right. So thanks for everyone who entered, and we will be doing more giveaways in the future. So thank you so much for that, man. And let's get out of this for real quick. I use technology like a 90-year-old man. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Okay. All right. So that concludes all of the main topics. And I did want to mention, though, a few quick updates. The first one is I put out a brand new Flick Trip video. It's on my Flick Pick channel. The link is down below, my main channel. So if you want to watch a Flick Trip video of me driving to Chicago to watch the new Brad Pitt movie, F1, definitely check that out. So I posted that last night. And look out for a in-depth Jurassic World Rebirth review coming to the Flick Pick channel tomorrow or the next day. So look out for that video as well. I have a lot more I still want to say about that movie, and none of it's good, I'll tell you that. So look out for that as well. So without further ado, what do you say we just dive into your questions? And you guys have been killing it with the questions already. And there's a few I do need to mention real quick. Last week, I had a question from the movie guy that it popped up a little too late, and I missed it. The movie guy last week, who has been a regular viewer, he's here right now, and I love you, movie guy, more than you'll ever know. But last week, you asked me, don't know if you've ever seen it, John. I know you like period piece films, so if you want an excellent film to watch with your wife, put on Fried Green Tomatoes. Well, my good sir, not only do I love that movie, but my wife loves it even more. Now, Fried Green Tomatoes, to me, is a near perfect movie. And it's not for everybody. The best way I can describe Fried Green Tomatoes is this. If Top Gun Maverick is the ultimate dad movie, it sort of feels like Fried Green Tomatoes is the ultimate mom movie. Is that a fair way to say it? I'm going to stick with that. But when it comes to Fried Green Tomatoes, I'll bring it up here right now. It's a great movie from 1991. And what you have is you have Kathy Bates. And she plays this, and it definitely has some heavy comedy in the movie, but it's also like a real movie with drama. You have Kathy Bates, and she plays this unfulfilled housewife. She's a little bit overweight. Her husband's overweight, and she wants to make a lifestyle change. So she befriends this old lady in a nursing home randomly who shares her past life story. And from there, it sort of influences her to change her life. But the film keeps cutting back and forth between two different time periods. And it's a really intriguing movie. I think you would enjoy it if you gave it a chance. So it's a great movie. There's a quote in the movie that even a broken heart keeps on beating. I like that. I think that's a beautiful quote. So yes, I have seen Fried Green Tomatoes. My wife loves it too, and we've watched it together just in the last year or so. So I love me some Fried Green Tomatoes. Not only do I actually like Fried Green Tomatoes, occasionally, I really do enjoy the movie. Why am I looking at Terminator 2 right there? I don't know. Okay. So thanks for the question, the movie guy. And by the way, since you did ask us a $10 super chat, and everyone who asks a $10 super chat, you do get a magical party popper. So here's to you, the movie guy. All right. I love party poppers. And by the way, I bought enough party poppers to last for like the next 3 years. I got 5 garbage bags full of them. All right. All right. The next one from last week, and the next question from last week also comes from Tommy Lee, who says, "Hello, Johnny. If aliens were real and they came to Earth, what would be more likely? That they travel through space or via interdimensional travel?" Well, the thing is, you have to understand, as I talk about light speed, I'm a guy who talks about movies. I'm out of my element. Stay in your lane, John. But anyway, when it comes to light speed technology, we have the ability to go 1% at light speed. So meaning it would probably take us the next, 200 million years to get to the next closest star in our universe. So if aliens were in fact a real thing and they had technology that would just blow us out of the water, the going light speed wouldn't even be fast enough to get from one universe to another. You would need something beyond that. So I think having some kind of wormhole like you saw in Interstellar would be the next logical explanation. Now, how does that work? Don't ask me. I'm not a scientist. I'm a guy sitting around in his underwear talking about movies. So I definitely think it would be some kind of weird interdimensional thing. How would that be? I couldn't tell you. How did they get here in physical form? I don't know. Is it some kind of... I don't know, man. But beyond all that, if you really want my in-depth thoughts on it, I think we live in a simulation. This is a simulation. It has to be. There's no other excuse for it. I think in reality what we are, we're in big aquariums in a spaceship floating through the dark void of space, and our actual physical form are like jellyfish. And rather than live in that monotonous lifestyle as we travel beyond the stars, we're so bored that the only way that we can exist, mentally speaking, is we invented this live action Grand Theft Auto type video game called reality. And this is what we live in. It's not real. We're just jellyfish. Let's go to the next topic. That's getting weird. I know it's getting weird, but I'm going to stand by that. And we can go down that rabbit hole much more if you want to in another live stream, but not tonight. Okay. All right, let's get to the next question here, and the next one comes from Alan, who says, "You're awesome. Do you own any boutique 4K Vinegar Syndrome, Arrow, Criterion, etc.?" Yeah, I do. Speaking of those, I have the Arrow copy of True Romance back there, which is a really cool release. Really awesome. I can go grab, give me 2 seconds. I'll just go grab it and show it to you. This is the Arrow copy of True Romance, the 4K, and I think this is awesome. I wish every physical copy of a movie looked like this. Just the artwork, you slide it open, it has like a poster in it. It's got Christian Slater, who I've been told I sort of look like a little bit. There, let me give you the full shebang of Christian Slater. Do I kind of look like Christian Slater? Put a turbo dog in the microwave, That's all I got. That's all I got. All right, the next one comes from Nick Snyder, who says, "John, are you making it downtown for the T2 screening on the IMAX? I did not know that they had a T2 screening of Terminator on IMAX. What? Is this a real thing? Where's this at? When is it? I would like to go. Sounds kind of cool." All right, the next one comes from, let's scroll back here. The next one comes from Logan, who says, "John, take a sip of your caffeinated beverage. I'd vote for Nick Nolte as 007. Who would be the worst pick?" I like it shaken, not stirred. Would you like another Bud Light, sir? And by the way, speaking of a caffeinated beverage, let's in fact take a sip of it right now. Oh, nothing cleanses the soul more like a processed, chemically induced metal can of caffeinated, carbonized battery acid. Oh, I love it so much. All right, the next one comes from, Murph, who says, "Do you think the Penguin in the Batman Returns have penguin girlfriends, or was he a virgin?" That's a great question. A guy with that many mommy issues, you never know. But I'd like to say he could probably bi romance, if you know what I mean. Or you could just go to Tantally.com and use promo FlickPick to save 20% off. Never mind. Let's go to the next question. Okay, and the next one comes from... All right. Stephen Knight, who says... Let's pull up his question here. All right, Stephen Knight says, Flick trip idea. Jump out of an airplane with no parachute and yell, "Fuck it!" and catch a copy of Point Break, which would be attached to a parachute midair to save yourself. You know what, man? I'll tell you what. One day that just might be the plan. Not today, but if a terminal illness ever comes about, I'm definitely jumping out of a plane without a parachute and a gun. And if I land and make it, I'm going to start robbing banks and surfing. I stand by that. That's my plan. Thank you for that. Come on, pull it, Johnny. 20 seconds. I love it. Oh, just every time we talk about Point Break, it makes me want to go watch it. Okay, Go F Yourself says, Mortal Kombat 2 got reactions as good as in-game. People stood up and screamed. It's said to be bloody. Have 27... Have 27. What the hell does that mean? Have 27 and Carl Urban steals the show. They are predicting a potential hit. Are you excited? Do you believe they learned from the first one? I have heard nothing about early screenings of Mortal Kombat 2 whatsoever. We haven't even gotten a trailer yet, keep in mind. But I know the movie comes out this fall, so I'm sure some people have seen it. Hey, if it's better than the last one, and it's better than Mortal Kombat 2 Annihilation, I'm excited enough to check out the movie. Does that mean it's good? We'll have to wait and see, but that does slightly give me hope for it. So thanks for the question, man. But I'm looking forward to Mortal Kombat 2. I really am. Just give me a competent video game movie. It's been since 1995. What are we doing? Come on. And then plus we're getting a Street Fighter movie at some point. And I think there's room to make these really cool movies. I really think there's a lot you can do with these. And it's just what they always do is the opposite of what they should. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Robert Giacinta. It's Giacinta or Giacinta? I'm calling you Giacinta tonight. Hey, Robert, how's it going, man? Here it goes. John, since you didn't go live on Friday, I decided to leave my wife and kids, and I just couldn't go. I am currently sharing a motel with a woman of the night. Well, thank you for that. I hope it's a Motel 6 with cockroaches and bedbugs, because nothing says... nothing says I've given up on life more than that. But anyway, I've stayed in places like that. But anyway, yeah, sorry I couldn't go live Friday. There has just been too much going on this week. And plus, Wednesday, we're going out of town for a week for a family vacation. So it's just been very hectic. And I've been trying to get a lot done. And there's some other stuff on the side I've been trying to figure out. So adulting, I hate it. Can we just talk about movies and happy stuff? Can I play with dinosaur toys? All right, let's go to the next one here. But thanks, man. Thanks for joining me tonight on Sunday. I was going to say if I have time, maybe on like Tuesday night to do a live Q&A. I might do that, or at least I might try to do that, but no guarantees. But thanks for the question, Robert. Alan says, you're awesome. Do you own... Oh, we already answered that. But I like hearing it again. Makes you feel so warm and tingly inside. So thanks, man. All right, Jack Eden. How's it going, Jack? If you had a kid now, if you had a kid, how old would they be when you show them their first rated R movie, and what movie would it be? I think it should be Silence of the Lambs. You know what? That's always the movie I've always said. It's Silence of the Lambs. And I think that is a pivotal film to show any child or adolescent child around the age of 7 or 8 years old. And hear me out for a second, okay? Hear me out. Society has gotten too soft. We've gotten too soft. I grew up on movies that were rated R. My parents trusted me. Now, was that a good experience or a bad experience? I'll say it toughened me up at a young age and gave me more insight to how humanity worked. But also, it probably fucked me up a little bit as a kid as well, right? Because I was used to dark, decrepit things, and I just thought that was the norm. So one day when I drew a whole bunch of people getting slaughtered with a chainsaw in 5th grade, and they took me to the counselor's office, I didn't comprehend what the problem was. I thought it just looked cool. They thought I was a psychopath. But let's back up. Let's back way up. I feel like sometimes you should show children certain films. That way, it opens up their eyes to the reality that they live in. And by showing someone at a young age a movie like Silence of the Lambs, hear me out for a second, they will probably never get in the back of a van to help a guy with a broken arm move furniture in the middle of the night. That way, you know if you talk to strangers, you're going to end up down in a well and they're going to make a lampshade out of your nipples. So I think films like that should be shown across classrooms in 5th grade. It is the best advice you can give children for not talking to strangers. So if anything, the moral outcome of Silence of the Lambs is exactly that. But in all seriousness, and also I probably would show like my 10-year-old kid Silence of the Lambs, but I think movies like Terminator 2 Judgment Day, like if I had an 8-year-old kid or even 7 years old, maybe 7, 8, we'll go with 8, I think that's a fine movie to show. Because ultimately it's just robots fighting each other. And they do murder some people along the way. But, you know, it's just blood squibs, you know. I think action movies are fine. Like, I think Point Break would be fine. I don't think those movies really lend themselves to, like, giving you nightmares. They're just action, you know. So I think movies like that are fine. But you're asking me for parenting advice. Look at me. Like, no, you don't take advice from a guy like this. Come on. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from, Logan X, who says, oh, we already answered this. Okay. The next one comes from Evoker to the Face, who says, can't wait to hear your Squid Game opinion. I thought it was a really mixed bag, but I'm leaning more towards liking season 3 than disliking it, though. There's a lot of hate online for it currently. Yeah, but where's that coming? What they want? Did they want? I'm sure I know what their complaints are, and it's with the ending. I will say they dragged out one subplot where they're sort of searching for the islands a little bit too long. But ultimately, when you break down each game, the character decisions, and what they did with it, I liked it overall. I will say there are a few tweaks I would have made, especially with what one older character ends up doing. I thought maybe she could have just done more in another game to really help everyone around her. But ultimately, I was happy with it. And when you just look at the filmmaking style and the edge of your seat intensity when it comes to some of those games, especially the first game type that they showed, where everyone's just running around and it's chaos, I thought that was so well done. And the second game was great as well. So I liked it. I almost want to just dive into spoilers. It's hard to really give you guys substance and in-depth thoughts without talking spoilers, but I know not a lot of people have seen it, so we won't do that today. But I quite enjoyed Squid Game Season 3. I'd give it like a solid B. You know, it could have been great, but there's a few little nitpicks I would have, but I don't think it's disappointing. And also I think it's better than 99.9% of stuff I've seen in the last 6 months. Like, I think Squid Game Season 3 is probably better than 90% of the movies I've watched this year. So I don't know what the big complaints could be. It's like you have Squid Game Season 3 and then you have shit like Megan 2.0 coming out. Like, clearly that's the better thing. It's thought-provoking. It makes you feel something. All right, let's go to the next one. And by the way, Evoker to the Face, thanks for the question, man. You get a party popper. 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Ender Robinson, who says, how old when your dad died? How'd it happen? Well, hey, man, thanks for that. Thanks for bringing up childhood trauma. We're talking about movies and having a good time. No, I don't mind that question at all. I was 12 years old. And I vividly remember it. I really do, man. It just makes you tougher in life. And really, if anything, though, I'll say this. It's since, and I should probably talk to a psychiatrist about it, but ever since that event, I've always had this weird attachment issue to people in my life. I'm like, well, I'm just going to lose them one day, so how attached can I really get? What does that say about me? I don't know. And then it also makes you really hyper paranoid about every danger in society that exists. It's like my life is like a premonition of Final Destination at all times. I just think of every dangerous outcome that could happen in every situation, and I'm like, nah, not today. But thanks for the question, man. Azim the Dream says, "Hey Johnny, do you feel like it's best to wait for Jurassic World Rebirth to come to streaming? The T-Rex River scene makes it better than Jurassic World Trilogy, but still upset it abandoned the Planet of the Dinos concept. Not as good as the 90s Jurassic Park films. What's your ranking of all the Jurassic Park films?" Man, that's a loaded question. Okay, so I do not... I'll put it like this. If you have nothing better to do and you're going to hang out with some friends, go watch Jurassic World Rebirth in the theater. Whatever. Just don't expect it to be good or thought-provoking or all that entertaining. It's something to sort of just look at for 2 hours, okay? So if you want that, go do that. If you're going into a drive-in theater to hang out, maybe that's a good place to watch dinosaurs. But for me, I think it's one of the biggest disappointments of the last year when it comes to films. It's like you were so caught up in if you could do it, you never stopped to think about if you should. The line from Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park. And the thing that, speaking of Ian Malcolm, he's a charismatic character. You like watching him do things. He's interesting. He says things that are thought-provoking. And he has like charisma. Everyone in this new Jurassic World movie is just a void of charisma and character. And the film ultimately does feel like it was generated by ChatGPT based on 3 prompts that they put into it. And they didn't even stop to read what happened. They just said, okay, let's film that shit, whatever it is. Dinosaurs do stuff on an island. What else? That's it. That's all we have. Put Scarlett Johansson in it. Film it next week. I don't care. Just terrible. So how do I rank all of the Jurassic Park movies? The first one is by far the best. Then I'd go Lost World. Then I would go Jurassic Park 3. Then I would go Jurassic Park, The Lost World from 2015. And then they all sort of just get really bad to the point where like they don't even deserve to be ranked. But if I had to pick, Dominion is still the worst for me. Fallen Kingdom, when they get to that old man's basement and they're auctioning off dinosaurs, I think that is the biggest slap in the face to fans of the franchise. I think that's a blatant sign of disrespect from Universal Studios. And by the way, when it comes to them as a studio, I hope they can go fuck themselves, because what they do is a blatant, it goes against policy and fair use legality. Every time you post anything negative when it comes to the Jurassic World franchise, which by the way is it's dwindling with every movie. It's progressively gotten worse and worse to the point where you have to fire everyone, creatively speaking, who's involved in these films, and they should not be working in any creative capacity in Hollywood. Okay, so I put out a reaction on Jurassic, and I'm sorry, I have to rant for a second, but hear me out before we go to the next question. I put out a reaction with my thoughts, my original opinions on Jurassic World Rebirth, or as I'm going to call it, Jurassic World Abomination. And they gave me a copyright claim on that video, but they claimed literally footage of me just talking. Like they said that they owned that footage. And that really pissed me off to no degree. And so anyway, I'm currently disputing that. But when it comes to Universal, like, I wish they would pull their heads out of their asses. That way they could maybe make a good franchise movie that people wanted to see that wasn't just a generic pile of dinosaur shit left on the side of the road. But furthermore, I wish they could also stop illegally placing copyright claims on people's original content. That would also be nice. Because what I was going to do with my Jurassic World Rebirth review was, rather than use footage from the trailer, because if you use 1.2 seconds of it, even though it's covered under fair use laws, they will claim that shit. If someone watches it and it's negative, they will claim it. It's blasphemy. It's crazy. So anyway, I was literally just gonna take my hands and record myself with Jurassic Park toys, shaking them as my trailer footage, and see if they claimed it. And they probably will. So anyway, Universal, I love you guys, but go fuck yourselves at the same time. Okay, let's go to the next question here. And the next question comes from, where are we? Okay. The Movie Guy. Hey, movie Guy's back again. Yay! All right, here it goes, man. And thanks for the questions, as per usual. They should film part 2 and 3 back to back if they were smart. It would be awesome to see Gotham by Gaslight type screenplay brought to life. I think Pattinson's Batman would fit the story well. Have you seen Gotham by Gaslight? I have not seen Gotham by Gaslight. Why do I not know what this is? Gotham? Oh, is this the 1800s Batman movie? Or no, okay, that's not what I'm thinking of. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Okay, yeah, I kind of remember this. It's right here. So I have not seen this. I remember having the DVD or something for a while. But I never watched it, so I did not see it. For me, a lot of the animated DC films are just hit or miss, you know. But I have not seen it, man. But I think I agree with what you're saying. The fact that they didn't film part 2 and 3 of the Batman back to back, I think logistically would have made more sense. But the fact that Matt Reeves could barely get out part 2, the screenplay, and the fact that time is of the essence, because now this movie's already a year extra delayed, to make this film and then have another film, you're looking at the next, like, part 3 would come out, 2028 at the soonest if they filmed them back to back. And I just think at that point, that sort of starts overlapping what James Gunn wants to do with his interpretation of Batman in the DC universe. So I don't think it would work, though I think they should have done that. And I also think, excuse me. Okay, I'm good now. But here's the thing. I feel like after the success of the Batman in 2022, the fact that they didn't have a screenplay ready to go within a year after that, to me, is like mind-boggling. Like, it's successful. They greenlit another movie. Write the fucking screenplay, man. Just do it. Get it out. But no, we waited 5 years for a screenplay. Keep in mind, we waited almost 5 years for a screenplay. So there's that. But anyway, The Movie Guy, thanks for the question once again, man. And you get a party popper just for you. You want me to pop it right in your face? Get ready. Don't wince. Keep your eyes wide open. You ready? 3, 2, 1. All right. You know what's awesome? After these live streams, I get to sit here with my vacuum cleaner and pick up all the party popper poop for like 20 minutes. But it's a small price to pay for glory. But thank you guys so much. I couldn't do it without you guys. I mean that. Jake Tammon says, hot take. After rewatching Batman Begins, that movie should have been the start of the DCEU. It's the most comic booky of the trilogy. You know what, Jake? I agree with you. Now, the thing is, when it comes to Batman Begins, and I love it. I love it more than I would like to admit. Because sometimes when I think about it, I just lather myself in baby oil and put the bat cowl on and run around in my backyard. But anyway, it definitely had more of a fantastic-y vibe to it. And when you watch Batman Begins, they set that up to be sort of a surreal Gotham universe. It felt like it felt seedy and dirty, and it felt like a third world country when you had the Narrows. And that entire vibe and aesthetic, I was sort of missing that the first time I watched The Dark Knight. Because when you watch The Dark Knight, it's like, oh, Gotham looks all clean and proper, and hey, it looks basically like Chicago because it is. And I was missing that seediness that Batman Begins gave us. And let's just look at it real quick. Batman Begins Narrows. Where are the drugs? They're in the Narrows. Let's check it out. Yeah, man, when you look at this, look at that. Like, it's decrepit and decaying. There's just trash and dirt and debris all over the place. I liked that aesthetic quite a bit. And that's what I'm missing that's what's missing from the Christopher Nolan trilogy. I wish they would have continued with it. I really do. And plus, the Batman Begins bat suit. I also think that is the best looking Nolan bat suit by far. That to me looks like Batman. I love how it's a little more bulky. And I get that the agility isn't there and you can't turn your head when you're backing out of the driveway, Mr. Wayne. But hey, 3 buttons is a bit 90s. But I liked it. I remember the very first Batman Begins first. I remember the first look that they ever gave us of this movie. Yeah, it was right here. I remember back in like 2000 and I think it was early 2005 or maybe late 2000. I think it was early 2005. We got this image. You can't really see it on the screen, can you? But anyway, this image right here. And I just remember thinking, I love everything about that. So I agree with you, man. I do miss that more fantastical, seedy look of Gotham City. And I think we'll probably get it with but we kind of got that in the Batman a little bit. And that's what I liked about that so much. Like in the Batman with Robert Pattinson, the first 5 minutes of that movie where you have the narration where he's like, I can't be everywhere at once. You know, I like that setup. It brought Gotham back to life for me. You know, at least Gotham felt like Gotham. And that's my biggest complaint, once again, with the Nolan franchise or trilogy. Gotham just felt like whatever city they were filming in that day. All right, the next one comes from Quinn Udi, who says, have you been to a Disney park? Opinion on their IPs. I have never been to Disney World or Disneyland. Never been there. I'm more of a Universal Studios type guy, you know. And plus, the thing about Disney is just too many people go there. Just too many people go there. I would like to visit it if no one else went. I'm not waiting 3 hours to go on Magic Mountain. I'm just not doing it. And plus, as a dude who talks about movies, I just like sort of the IPs that exist around Universal Studios, even though I just told the studio to go fuck themselves a few minutes ago. I'm sorry for that. But hey, I still like Jaws, and I still like the original Jurassic Park. I just don't like what you guys are doing in Jurassic Park, and I don't like your false copyright claims you're giving people. That is bad business. You don't need my monetization that bad. You don't need all $43 I made on my reaction video. You don't need it. Or maybe you do, because your franchises are failing because you make shitty movies. Just putting it out there. That's the problem. It's not me, it's you. All right? But anyway, I forgot what we were talking about. Oh yeah, Disney. I like Disney IPs. I love classic Disney. I like some of I like the golden age of Disney quite a bit. This modern version of Disney movies, I'm not the biggest fan of, but you know, I would like to go to Disney World at one point in my life. Maybe one day when I have kids, I'll go there. But if I go to another amusement park, it's probably going to be Epic Universe. I just think that looks really awesome, and I'd like to check that out at some point. All right, the next one comes from Azim the Dream, who says, what's Azim saying? He's saying, how many of the Harry Potter films have you seen? I've seen them all. My wife made me watch. My wife is a walking, talking encyclopedia when it comes to Harry Potter and the franchise. But I have watched all of them with her. So I've seen all the movies at least once. I think I've seen the first movie like maybe 2 or 3 times. Any favorite ones? I like the first one and maybe Prisoner of Azkaban maybe the most. I think the last 2 Harry Potter films are sort of underwhelming. I think the final film is very underwhelming. That big final battle that takes place at Hogwarts, I'm sorry, that just did not feel that fulfilling to me. Like, I could not imagine being a huge fan of the franchise and thinking that was what I wanted to see. Maybe I'm weird, but I was expecting more something in terms of like a Game of Thrones battle sequence. That's what I wanted to see. All right. Also, did you ever finish Cobra Kai? Did I finish I think I watched the last episode of Cobra Kai and skipped. I watched the first 2 episodes, skipped the rest, and watched the final episode of Cobra Kai. And the weird thing about all of that is I didn't actually miss anything. I know, that's weird, right? But I don't feel like I missed anything. So yes, I have seen the final season of... I saw the final episode of Cobra Kai. And I like that Johnny Lawrence got his redemption. So there's that. Yay, Johnny, you did it. He's only been holding on to that grudge since 1984. If only I was Hill Valley champion in 1984. He finally redeemed himself. So I did see it. I liked it. All right. The next one comes from Quinn Udi, who says, do you think Doctor Doom will be a Tony Stark variant? I think there could be a possibility of that. I think there could be a possibility of that. To me, I don't necessarily want them to say he's a Tony Stark variant. I think I want him to be I want him to be the character Doctor Doom. I want him to not just be Tony Stark pretending to be Doctor Doom or whatever. But I think if they hint at that being a slight variant, but he is in fact Doctor Doom, I think that'd be the way to go. Don't just say, hey, I'm Tony Stark in this universe, but also I wear a mask and call myself Doctor Doom, and I'm a bad guy. Don't do that. Just make it the legitimate character of Doctor Doom, and you can hint at it being a variant of Tony Stark in another universe or another multiverse. I think that's the way to do it, to sort of appease everyone. And it would make the most sense. But I like Tony Stark. I like that he's coming back to play Doctor Doom. I do. I know a lot of people hate it. They think it's like cheap casting just to get more name recognition, but it's Robert Downey Jr. If I have faith in him to play a competent Doctor Doom. I really do. All right, the next one comes from Azim the Dream, who says, do you think Batman Forever has gained a cult following over the years? And do you feel differently about it now than you did before? Also, top 5 Batman movies. I never said thank you. And you'll never have to. Okay, so let's talk about Batman Forever. Now, first and foremost, it has one of the best lovemaking songs that have ever existed in cinema, played by Seal. Would you guys like to hear a little taste of it? I know I would. Here it goes. Seal. Let's listen to this bad boy here. Oh, just the music video turns me on. Got it. All right, let's check it out. God, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. So listen, even as a kid, when I saw Batman Forever in theaters, and keep in mind, I was raised on Batman 89 and Batman Returns 1992. So I was used to like the dark, decrepit version of Batman doing kooky shit with Jack Nicholson as the Joker, glad you're dead, and Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman with a pleather latex suit on, putting birds in her mouth as the Penguin went, want me to show you my French flipper trick? That's the kind of shit I grew up with, okay? So when you gave me Batman Forever as a kid, I was like, this is baby food. What is this? Like, I want to see someone make some sexual innuendo or something. Like, I want to see the Penguin's bloated ass fall over and the Penguin's carry him into his cold ice water grave. That's the kind of stuff I wanted to see. But I still enjoy it, and I think there is definitely a nostalgia about watching Batman Forever. I think it's the perfect movie to take an edible to and watch at home in the privacy of your home in your underwear. And hey, I like Jim Carrey in it. I liked Val Kilmer, though I feel like the interpretation just feels like a zany Saturday morning cartoon directed by Joel Schumacher. And there's a lot of cow pieces and bat nibbles. And there's nothing wrong with everything I just said. But for me, it's not really my favorite interpretation of the character. It's a live action toy commercial. And Batman and Robin is just a live action toy commercial with no redeeming qualities. Am I still looking at Seal? Yes, I am. But yeah, you have Chris O'Donnell. He's playing Robin, who's supposed to be like this 19-year-old kid, and he looks 35. There's a lot to love about it. Tommy Lee Jones did not want to be in the movie. There's that. And then you had the Batmobile driving up the side of a wall. Let's look at this. So I get why people like it. It's just not my favorite, but I respect it. So there's that. So if I had to rank all the Batman movies, I'm going to go with... Oh, man. Oh, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me right now. This is too much thought processing. I don't have it to give. But I'm going to throw, like, Dark Knight in there. Then I'm going to throw Batman Begins. Then I'm going to throw, like, The Batman. Then The Dark Knight Rises. And then I'll throw in... I'm not going to include animated Batman movies. Mask of the Phantasm. I'm sorry. Then we'll go with Batman Forever. And then we'll go with Batman and Robin somewhere in there, on the trickling in the distance somewhere back there. So there's that. That's my quick ranking of the Batman movies. All right, let's go to the next one here. Non-Fat Matt says, I just watched Independence Day 1996 for the first time, and it is genuinely one of the worst movies I've ever seen. The script is completely absurd, and it's full of tropes and awful acting. What am I missing? Nothing. You're missing nothing. But the only thing you are missing is the statement where you say, Independence Day is fucking awesome. Welcome to Earth. Or, hey, get my wife's name out your mouth. Boop. Either one works. Independence Day, maybe... Listen, let's back up. When it comes to 4th of July movies, there's only a really good handful to pick from. So when it comes to summertime blockbusters, especially summertime blockbusters that defined the 1990s, it's Independence Day. And don't forget, the movie stars the beautiful, glorious Jeff Goldblum. And plus, one of my favorite lines in Independence Day 1996 is this: David, if they want HBO, they'll call you. He just thinks his son, who's a scientist, is some cable repairman, and I love it. I think Independence Day is a great movie. Now, is it a little bit bombastic? Yeah. Is it stupid? Absolutely. Do they install a virus into an alien spacecraft with a 1995 laptop on Windows 95? Yes, they do. And that destroys the entire civilization of this alien race. But hey, I'm okay with all that, because at the end of the movie, you have Randy Quaid flying up into the alien spacecraft saying, I'm back, and it blows up. It's beautiful. But also, little fun flick fact for you, in that final sequence where Randy Quaid gets into a fighter jet, I'm pilot, I can fly. Originally, he was actually going to be in his crop dusting plane, flying that rather than a fighter jet. But I think they thought it would be too absurd. So if you wanted something even more absurd, that could have been a possibility. And I think they should have stuck to that, just putting it out there. But I like Independence Day. I remember seeing that movie in theaters with my stepdad, July 1996. It was a hot summer night. And I remember watching the movie and I quite enjoyed it. So, and plus you had, what's her name? Is it Alicia? What's the Will Smith's wife's name in the movie? Vivian Fox or something? Or anyway, I don't know. Will Smith's wife is a stripper in that movie, so I guess art imitates reality. Anyway, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Jake Tammin, back again, who says, Superman the Animated Series, best Superman adaptation. I didn't really watch the Superman animated series, so maybe that's just a me thing, but I never really watched it. I did start rewatching the original Superman Richard Donner cut a couple weeks ago, and I think that's if I would have watched that movie in the late 70s, I think I would have been blown away by it. I really do. So I'll tell you what, when it comes to Superman stuff, though, have you guys ever played Superman 64? Yeah, anyway, let's look at this piece of shit here. Now, I bought this game when I had a Nintendo 64. It was one of the very first games I bought. And I thought, hey, a Superman game, it's got to be awesome, right? This is what you do. This is what you do. This is actually the end credit scene from the upcoming James Gunn Superman movie. This is what you do in the game. You just fly through rings. And it was so hard to do. For some odd reason, controlling Superman flying was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I still don't think I have the hand-eye coordination to get it done. Those rings, man. Ugh, they still give me nightmares. Anyway, Bruce Cook says, Batman Forever, Tommy Lee Jones told Jim Carrey he couldn't act. And yeah, he had a point. I like me some Jim Carrey. Dustin Rich says, Robert Downey Jr. is a great actor, but terrible choice for Doctor Doom. Disney has destroyed the MCU, and they should suffer for their crimes against humanity. Say it, John. See, I disagree. I kind of think it's an interesting casting choice. Dustin Rich says, I've never seen a single Harry Potter movie, and I feel like the more I hear about it from others, the less I want to see it. I get why people like them. I think some of the movies just drag. And I'll give you let me get this off the screen. And when it comes to Harry Potter movies, I think if you read the Harry Potter novels, a lot of things that they do in the movies would make more sense, because I'm watching the movies from like a perspective of someone who knows nothing about them, right? And it just feels like the movies are not telling me enough about what's going on or how much I should care about this certain situation or this certain character to really make me comprehend it or feel the emotions I feel like the movie wants me to feel. I'm like, okay, I've seen this character 5 times throughout the series, but why am I supposed to like them so much? And like in the book, there's like 17 chapters dedicated to them. But when you're watching the movie, there's 7 minutes dedicated to them. So I feel like sometimes I feel like those movies were made for people who love the books. Maybe I don't know. I could be wrong, but I feel like sometimes I felt like I was missing plot points. I'm like, wait, that doesn't make enough sense. And then I'll ask my wife about it, who knows the books front to back, and she's like, no, in chapter 7 and book 4, it explained that. I'm like, yeah, but the movie didn't explain that. So anyway, Harry Potter. Let's go to the next one. And the next one comes from Daniel Martin, who says, John, speaking of 28 years later, were we speaking of 28 years later? What is one cliffhanger or part 2 movie that you did like? I'm not a fan of part 2 movies in general unless done right. Oh, movies that ended on a cliffhanger? Oh, man. I mean, we just talked about it. I thought the ending of Batman Begins gave me everything I wanted to see. And then we have this guy. He leaves a calling card. Armed robbery? Homicide? I'll look into it. I never said thank you, and you'll never have to. And he just jumps off the building. Credits roll. Fuck yeah. Now that's how you end a Batman movie. And for years after that, for the next 3 years, I could not wait to see The Dark Knight. So that might be one of my favorite cliffhanger endings. I know there's probably a million more, so here's my question to you guys. What are some of your favorite cliffhanger endings of all time in a movie? Let me know that down below. I'm trying to think of another one. Man, I know there's got to be. I don't want to talk about like MCU movies or stuff like that because there's going to be another movie, but I mean, at the end of I'll give credit where credit's due. At the end of the first Avengers movie, you had Thanos turning around with his big purple magenta head who looked nothing like the actual incarnation that we later got. He was a little less magenta-y. I thought that was kind of cool. That got audiences hyped back in 2012. But yeah, let me know some of your favorite cliffhanger endings. The Harry Potter books go way into more detail. Yeah, absolutely. Most books do. Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, you got the dark ending. Luke, I'm your father. Yes, how could you not be excited for the next installment where that goes? Across the Spider-Verse, okay. Godzilla -1. Prisoners. Well, I don't know. Prisoners left us with much of a cliffhanger, did it? Inception. Yeah, Inception definitely was a good cliffhanger. See, I was thinking of movies that left you on a cliffhanger for the next installment, I guess is what I was looking for here. The Sopranos, well, just cut to black, that's... that'd be like, hey guys, so I have one really important thing to tell you. See, just kidding. It would be like that. Total Recall, Prisoners, The Exorcist 3, Two Towers. Zack Snyder's Justice League had the best cliffhanger ending. We need a saga completed. I think he said everything he needed to in his 5.5-hour Justice League movie. All right. Anyway, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from... let's scroll down here. Here we go. The Android... Oh my God, John, can you read? No, I cannot combine all these letters together in my brain to make sense. The Andre Tomlinson. Did I feel like that's what I was supposed to say there. Anyway, if you're ever up for a road trip, you should check out Imagine Theaters in Batavia, Illinois. They have the largest theater in all of the Midwest. It's 96 feet tall, 53 feet wide, with 414 seats. It's a pretty cool experience. What is this monstrosity called? Batavia Theater? Okay. Let's check it out here. I got it. Hang on. Let me get this stupid ad up. Okay. Here's the theater he's talking about. Holy shit, that is big. That's a big theater. Is that even technically an IMAX screen? It just looks like a big screen. So there's the outside. I mean, yeah, it definitely looks like a theater on steroids. That's cool, man. I mean, maybe one day I'll check it out, but yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. Batavia, Illinois. Where is that? Sounds like it'd be far away. But no, that's cool. Thanks for letting me know it exists. Maybe one day I'll check it out if there's ever a reason. The next one comes from Ill Magic, who says, I saw F1 and really enjoyed it. It's predictable as hell, but who cares? I love the cast, the racing, and my God, I love the music. Oh, dude, F1 is, like I've said this before, it's literally the same formula as Top Gun Maverick, and it's basically Top Gun Maverick's cousin, but it has race cars in it, okay? So let's just, as long as we acknowledge all that, you're going to enjoy yourself. There are a few nitpicks I might have at the movie. I think some of the subplots during the third act get a little convoluted and forced and shoehorned and don't really ultimately matter. There's some weird visuals towards the third act that have nothing to do with the racing sequences. They're just a couple weird green screen scenes that feel like they tacked into the movie after they shot it. But ultimately, it is an awesome movie. And the score in F1, when he's driving, it has this very bombastic sort of Hans Zimmer-y sound to it, and I don't think Hans Zimmer, I don't think he was the composer. I'm sorry, I don't remember who the composer was for it. Brian Tyler was the composer for this. But anyway, I thought he did a really good job because it just intensifies all the sequences, and it's the kind of score I enjoy. So I recommend F1. In the last 2 weeks, I've seen Jurassic World. I've seen 28 Years Later. I've seen Megan. I've seen something else. I saw something else. I think I saw something else. And this would be the movie I would recommend seeing the most. So, yeah, definitely check it out if you haven't. I enjoyed it, man. I'd probably watch it again very soon. We do have a drive-in theater I've been meaning to check out. It's about 30 minutes away from my house. And if I do go, I would like to make maybe a flick trip video out of it. But I'm waiting until they play F1 so I can have a reason to go watch it again in a new venue. And I think watching it outside in a drive-in experience would be pretty cool. So, all right, let's go to the next one here. I'm going to start talking way quicker on these questions. So here we go. Tripler3 says, would you rather keep an Oompa Loompa in your basement or Cinderella in your attic? Oh, no, I've been saying this for years. I put a lot of thought into this, and this is not the first time I've talked about the concept of owning an Oompa Loompa. So hear me out for a second, all right? Listen, when you watch Willy Wonka, those Oompa Loompas are working their asses off. They're just making chocolate all day, dancing around, having a good time. And I'm okay with that. And the best part is, he doesn't even pay them. So if I could own an Oompa Loompa, keep them in my closet or maybe my garage, or maybe I can build them a nice shed in the backyard, and they can do all my lawn work for me, or at least pull my weeds because that's my least favorite thing to do, I would definitely own an Oompa Loompa. Absolutely. But Cinderella in my attic, I'd rather have her in my basement. Let's go to the next one here. The movie guy, back again, says, no CGI baby is worse than the sparkly vampire Twilight baby. Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, let's look at that Twilight abomination, baby. Oh! All right, let's look at it. Look at that. Look at that. Would you look at it? Look at that. Oh. That is one reason never to reproduce with a vampire. If ever there was a reason, that is it right there. Look at that thing. Look at that. Ugh. All right, let's go to the next one here. The next one comes from Johan Gustafsson, who says, hey, John, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Gollum film? I'm highly skeptical, especially after The Hobbit. Yeah, after what Peter Jackson did with the Hobbit films, which I did try to go back and rewatch the first Hobbit film. So in the wintertime, the wife and I, we went back and watched all the original Lord of the Rings trilogy because it just feels like that epic wintertime event that you should watch. And then we started to watch The Hobbit. And 35 minutes into the movie, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can watch 3 of these. I really don't think I can do it. It just, that magic, that filmic vibe, that pulsating sense of adventure, it feels like it's wiped away and you just get this digital product. And, I think ultimately, if you can look at where cinema is going in the wrong direction and where cinema should have stayed, take the Lord of the Rings franchise and take the Hobbit trilogy, right? Take those two things side by side. There's only a 10-year difference in between those two movies or two franchises. And just look at how different they are. And the newer one does everything it shouldn't, while the older one does everything it should. And I think there's a reason it still holds up and people still like it. People like the way movies used to look. It feels like a movie. It feels like this cinematic event that has escapism. It doesn't feel like you're watching your friend's cell phone footage. So, what was the question? Oh yeah, the Gollum movie. What can you do with a Gollum spinoff movie? I think you could do a lot. I really do. I think that character is compelling and oozes with this weird creepiness you just can't get enough of. But it depends on how they make it, right? Is it going to look like The Hobbit? I don't want it to. I don't want it to look all digital, but who knows? But I am curious to see it. Does that take place in between? Yeah, it takes place between the Hobbit trilogy and Lord of the Rings trilogy storylines, right? So somewhere in between those things in that 60-year time frame. The next one comes from Tripler3, who says, my uncle wanted to ask you if you fantasize about your wife getting hit in the head like an overboard and she forgets about everything. Well, you keep in mind, okay, so if I was the rich guy and Goldie Hawn was married to me and she was unbearable like she is in the movie, probably, yes. But if I was Kurt Russell and I'm more of a Kurt Russell guy than the other guy, I will never own a yacht, but I might build a closet on a yacht, okay? And then I could kidnap that rich lady and use her to raise my children. That sounds like a game plan in itself, which is actually the plot to Overboard. So I feel like he committed conspiracy, kidnapping, and a few other criminal activities. But with all that said, I still enjoyed the movie Overboard. All right, let's go to the next one here. Jokerface501 says, John, which movie you prefer, Baby Driver or Drive? Oh, I much prefer Drive over Baby Driver, man. I like Baby Driver. I have a review for it from 2017. I like the movie, but my biggest complaint with the movie is I think they could have done more with the soundtrack that he listens to when he's driving. I think it could have just, I get why they use the music that they do, but for me, like, I wanted more intense, awesome rock metal music for the driving sequences. I just wanted that's just a personal preference. But I liked Baby Driver, but Drive is a much superior film. Just the way it looks, I think it's a bit more polarizing. And it just stands out to me a bit more than Baby Driver, but all right, let's go to the next one here. And plus in Baby Driver, once they delve into the romance story, I just didn't care about it at all anymore. All right, we got another one here from the movie guy who says, I honestly think Denis Villeneuve is the better director choice between him and Nolan. Tom Holland and Bond would be as bad as Black Snape. What you're trying to say is the casting looks like a CW Bond. Yeah, all those younger actors, they just don't scream James Bond to me. I just don't know if that's the interpretation I'd like to see. But thank you for the question, man. And also, I'm completely satisfied with the director. The more I think about it, I think he is the better directing choice than someone like Christopher Nolan. Because I think Denis Villeneuve, as a director, he's a little more flexible with the way he tells a story. And I feel like overall it won't just feel like a Christopher Nolan movie, if that makes any sense. And that's not a slight against Nolan. Like, The Odyssey is one of my most anticipated movies of my life coming next year. But I think we'll get something that pays more tribute and homage to the James Bond genre and classic films from Denis Villeneuve. I really do. So I'm happy with the director. I don't think you could pick a better director working today. And plus, hey, we got Dune Messiah coming out next year, so I think he's going to be busy filming that and wrapping that up, and then he's going to jump into the James Bond movie. But once again, movie guy, thank you for the question, and let's give you a party popper, shall we? All right, here it goes. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to do another spin. Oh, yeah. All right. All right, let's go to the next one. Jack Iden says, I want Will Porter for the next James Bond, but he will probably get Austin Butler, laugh out loud, but we'll probably get Austin Butler. I hope not. Oh, I'd rather have a mannequin play James Bond than Austin Butler. But really, what's the difference? At least the mannequin doesn't do an Elvis Presley accent for 3 years of their lives. Because why? He's a method actor. He's a very serious method actor. Yeah, Will Porter, I like him. I just don't, I can't look at this for 2 hours in a James Bond movie and take it serious. I liked him in, what was that new movie he was in? The unicorn or the magical unicorn movie with Paul Rudd or whatever that movie was. I liked him in that, but All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Dustin Rich, who says, been watching you for years, and I'm not going anywhere, but I've heard you talk so much that I'm hyper aware of the mouth sounds you make between talking. But I like you, so I try to live with it. Dustin, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for my shortcomings. I'm sorry I say too much. Please forgive me, Dustin. But thank you for the question, and you get a party popper. Woo! Thanks, Dustin. Thank you so much. Here, I'll punish myself right now, Dustin. No more. But if I do anything annoying, let me know. I'll try to fix it. Or I'll just expand upon it. All right. Let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Jason, who says, John, I found out my mom put a camera with audio in my car without my permission and recorded me hidden with a black sock. I read the OTS. What the fuck are you saying? I read the OTS, a serious crime that can get a person 2 years in jail. No joke, really happened. What would you do and should I do? What is happening in your life, man? Your mom recorded you with a black sock in your car? What? I mean, I don't know. How old are you? Maybe she was just looking out for you, but where was this camera hidden? How did you not see it? I don't know. Who cares? Privacy is so overrated at this point in life. Who cares? It's like, she gave birth to you. Just accept it, and then one day you can move out and never talk to her again. Just look forward to that. But man, that's weird. I don't even know. For legal reasons, I refuse to give you advice on this. Consult a lawyer or just move out and emancipate yourself. But yeah, man, that sounds crazy. Jason says, John, tell me something awesome I would love to hear. Also, I seriously missed you since the last live stream. John, I can't live without you. I can't live without you either. So, something interesting. I don't know. Okay, that's not interesting at all. I'll tell you something. Last night, I started watching, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, I have not seen the movie in a very long time, and I have the 4K Blu-ray back there, and we're only about an hour into the movie, and it got so late I fell asleep. It's sort of my go to bed movie right now, right? But just the way I Know What You Did Last Summer looks, and keep in mind, this is a movie from 1997. It's not the best screenplay ever, but just the way it looks, it's filmed like a real movie. Just the opening scene where you have this, clearly they had to shoot it with a helicopter with a camera attached to the bottom of it. And it has this panning shot that goes over the cliffside with the ocean, and there's waves splashing up against the rocks. Just that opening shot alone looks way more filmic and well produced than the entire new I Know What You Did Last Summer sequel movie that looks like it was shot on someone's iPhone and should only be watched on Netflix at 2:00 in the morning when there's nothing else better to watch, and it looks like a parody movie. And I don't know why all movies coming out today look like parody movies. These are what this is what lower tier, this is what movies like Naked Gun 2 used to look like in 1995. Why is this what cinema looks like today? So anyway, I Know What You Did Last Summer, halfway through it, but I enjoy it. I do. I like it. Am I looking forward to the new one? I don't know. But I do want to see Jennifer Love Hewitt come back. And man, I was telling my wife, back in the 90s, Jennifer Love Hewitt and Sarah Michelle Gellar in one movie, that was like the ultimate like lady crush for every teenage boy. And in the 90s when this came out, in 97, I was probably only 11 years old, but man, those are my go-to crushes when it comes to movies. Jennifer Love Hewitt, oh man, and the movie Can't Hardly Wait with Jennifer. Oh gosh, have you guys ever seen Can't Hardly Wait? Such an underrated movie. You want an underrated comedy movie you should watch at least once in your life? It's Can't Hardly Wait. Let's, when you type in Jennifer Love Hewitt on Google, anything can happen. But anyway, yeah, just like, look at this. How could you not fall in love as a kid with her? Anyway. And the other thing I was telling my wife about this is, and we both agreed, it's like, she looks like a normal person. That looks like a normal person. Now she would have 47 cc's of Botox in her lips and look like a fish that was just sucking on a vacuum hose, and she would look not even human. But she just looks like a normal person there. I miss that. All right, let's go to the next one here. Oh, House Arrest is pretty good too. Michael Flores says, "Hey John, just wanted to say hi, and you're the best damn YouTuber on YouTube. Just letting you know." Well, man, thank you for those kind words, and I appreciate that. I'm not the most consistent YouTuber, but I care. I probably care more than most. Dustin Rich says, Tom Holland will play Bond, but Chris Pratt will voice him. Oh, God, could you imagine that? All right, let's go to the next one. I'm still thinking about Jason's mom with a sock or something, man. I don't know. Okay, the next one comes from the movie guy who says, one of the scariest representations of aliens I've seen in a series is the 6th episode in 3 Body Problem. The way it is portrayed, if it was real, is some of the scariest shit to think about. Dude, I've never seen that. What is it called? A series 6 episode, 3 Body Problem? What is 3 Body Problem? Oh, yeah, I did. No one talked about this. I heard decent things about it, but no one ever talked about it. That's what we're talking about right here, is this right here. I think this is based on a novel. Is it? Do you guys like this? Was it good? I've heard very mixed reactions, so I'll check it out at some point. But you sold me with the alien concept, man, because I love aliens and extraterrestrial beings in my movies. And by the way, speaking of that, if you guys want a good recommendation for something that has something similar in concept to that, with no spoilers, you guys should definitely read the book Project Hail Mary. And they are making it into a movie starring Ryan Gosling, which comes out next year. But I would highly, highly recommend reading the book Project Hail Mary. If you want good sci-fi, you want an epic adventure that doesn't treat you like a moron, highly recommend it. Probably my favorite novel I've ever read in my entire life. I'll put it there. So anyway, the movie guy, once again, man, thank you for the question, and you get another party popper. I'm going to do something a little crazy with this party popper. Let's do something crazy. Let's do this. There it is. So thanks for the question, movie guy. All right. I will be doing that pantless on my OnlyFans later this week, so just keep a lookout. Okay, Clark Ingleton says, best and worst movie, Mom, and the best and worst movie, Dad. Well, I think one of the best movie dads, you got to go with, I'd go with the dad from Incredibles, Mr. Incredible. He gave me those strong dad vibes. Worst movie, Mom, is... what Mommy Dearest. Yeah, if you've never seen the movie Mommy Dearest, this is what I'm talking about. This is based on a real life Hollywood celebrity who was like completely insane. This is Mommy Dearest right here. Completely and utterly insane. No wire clothes hangers. Talk about child trauma. Watch that scene. Just completely crazy. I think that's the worst movie mom. But that's a great question for you guys watching. What is the best movie dad and worst movie mom of all time? I think another good movie mom, call me crazy, I think Sarah Connor is a good movie mom. Like, she was going to escape an insane asylum to protect her son. And yeah, I think that's a good motherly instinct. Best movie dad. Another one would be... I don't like any of these choices here. How about Dr. Evil for best movie dad? Scotty? You could go with Big Daddy from Kick-Ass. Or Clark Griswold. That's a fun movie, Dad. Daniel Martin says, John, shoot a party popper out of your bunghole. I just did, man. Jeff Hostman says, worst movie parents TV would be Mr. and Mrs. Stouch from South Park. Good TV dad is the 70s show dad. Oh, yeah. Jackass. Red Foreman. Yeah, I'd go with that as well. Mr. Incredible. Yeah, so we'll go with those for now. All right, the next one comes from Jason, who says, John, I have sort of a medical issue and I recently looked it up. I'm not going to make it. It's crazy seeing your life being over, man. I hope I get more days. I hope so much. Awesome that I got to see a live stream again. Jason, you're not going anywhere. You'll be here next week, man. I'm going to heal you with the power of Flick Pick magic. Just take that. Let it hit your soul. Let it resonate. Shake your hands above your head and you're alive. You're not going anywhere, Jason. Not until I say I'm done with you. All right, let's go to the next one here. How about Robin Williams in World's Greatest Dad? He was a pretty good dad. Bad TV dad, Walter White. I would agree with that. He cared, though, but he ruined his entire family's life. Pancakes. Why can't you just die? All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, what's an obscure movie you love, but no one knows what the F you're talking about when you mention it to them? Well, that's funny you say that. We're going to talk about this for the next few seconds. And I just put out a post on X about this. And, oh man, that movie is a little movie from 1993 called Airborne. Now, this is the film right here. And basically what it is you have this California dude, bro, who likes to go surfing. There's a shark that came to me in my dream, and his name was Peppy. And he told me, like, he talks like that. He's not that likable, to be honest with you, after rewatching the movie for the first time in a very long time, but I've always enjoyed it. But anyway, he moves from California to Cincinnati, Ohio, the Midwest. So he's used to going surfing and hanging out on the beach, and he moves to Cincinnati. There's nothing to do. No one likes him. They all think he's a douchebag from California. And he kind of almost is. And his cousin is played by Wiley. Or his cousin is this character named Wiley, played by Seth Green. And he's sort of like this nerdy, unpopular kid. But anyway, the climax of the film is they have this rollerblading race down a street called Devil's Backbone. And it's this race that goes on for like 20 minutes. It's super dangerous, but it's like the rich preppy kids versus like the middle class kids. And this race is to solidify some kind of reputation. I don't know, who's the best skater in Cincinnati, Ohio. You know, it's something like that. But anyway, if you've never seen the movie Airborne, I'm going to recommend it. It's actually not, it's a fairly well-made movie. It's got some comedy, a little bit of drama, but it's an easy watch. It's like an hour and a half, and watch it on a rainy night. Definitely check it out. Now, I will tell you this real quick. You can actually watch this movie for free on YouTube. And I'm going to show you, I watched the first 10 minutes of it on YouTube the other night when I was showing my wife this movie. She had never seen it. And, oh God, where is it? Anyway, the entire movie is on YouTube right now. You can watch it. But the problem here with it is it's a VHS copy of the movie. Like, look at this shit. Look at this. This is what the movie looks like. We can just watch the whole movie. How about that? Grab some popcorn. Let's watch this shit. You got 90 minutes to spare. Come on. I'm only an hour behind on the questions. But this is... Now, I'm going to tell you this. The quality in this sucks. But keep in mind, if you want a nostalgic throwback cinematic experience of watching Airborne from 1993, what better way to watch it than in VHS quality that makes you feel like you're watching a VHS tape? And that's what this looks like. Like, look at this. That's literally what the 90-minute movie will look like. But you can watch it free on YouTube. Once again, it's completely free. But the only thing that sucks with this is the audio was not very good. So what I had to do is I paid like $4 to rent the HD version. And it looks really good. The HD version looks good. I think it looks better than most movies you watch today because it was shot on film. And I will give the movie some praise and some credit. When it comes to these racing sequences on roller skates, they're all practical, obviously. But the way they shot them looks really cool. Like, look how smooth that is. Like, there's some really intense skating sequences in this movie. Like, look at that. I think that's a really nice shot. So, go check out Airborne if you want a movie you've never seen. That's my recommendation to you. Dustin Rich says the kid from Airborne looks like he could use a good beating. Oh yeah, he definitely deserved to be punched in the face. But keep in mind, the movie also stars Jack Black before he became a cartoon character. This is young Jack Black in 1993. And then there's Seth Green, who looks exactly the same.
So what about you, Maharashi? You come to the game? Chill, bro.
He called him Liberace. Anyway, just thought I'd point that out for you guys. There's that. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from... Oh, gosh. Here we go. Daniel Martin says, John, do an impression of Tom Cruise, Katie Holmes era. Oh, you want the impression of Tom Cruise in the Katie Holmes era? Here it goes. You know, where he jumps on the couch on the Oprah show? No? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Okay. Anyway. There's probably a reason she got divorced from him. Just putting it out there. Is he a sociopath and a narcissist? Probably. But I like him in movies. All right. Bruce Cook says Airborne sequel was Wipeout. Murph says, reminds me of a Disney Channel movie Brink. But Airborne is a much better movie than Brink. It feels like a real movie when you watch it. It really does. There's some teenage drama in there. Okay, let's go to the next one here. The movie guy back again says... Oh, we already answered this. Sorry. The chat's going really quick. Okay, here we go. Okay. Skylar Wheelock says, did Cena versus Punk in their last dance deliver for you? So I did watch the Saudi Arabia premium live event, Night of Champions, and I think the CM Punk versus John Cena match, I thought it was good. I actually think I enjoyed it more than Cody Rhodes versus John Cena at WrestleMania. And there was a lot of interference at the end of the match, but I kind of liked it. I didn't hate it. It was way better than I expected. And it is leading into some other things they can do at SummerSlam. So overall, I did not dislike the match. I thought it more than delivered, and they got their stuff in, and I thought they had a somewhat fulfilling match with each other. The only downside is it was like in Saudi Arabia, which kind of has a weird vibe in itself, but I thought it was fine. AC Macho Man says, hi, John. I recently purchased the Panasonic UB9000 4K player. It's great so far. I wanted to get the best one I can. Wondering which player do you use? I have the Panasonic... Whatever one came out like, I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago. It's not the best model that they have, but it gets the job done. I can't remember which one it is. It was on sale at Best Buy one day, and it costs more now than it did 4 years ago, which is kind of crazy. But it's one of the lower tier Panasonic 4K players. It's very bare bones, I will say that, but I like it. Never had an issue with it. Cody Gill says, I think you meant 27 fights for Mortal Kombat 2, John, and there have been reports to early screenings. I look into it. It actually gives me hope. Yeah, maybe I'll talk about that on the next live show. So it has 27 fights in it. Good. That tells me that they're probably going to have a tournament in the movie, unlike the previous movie that just teased that they would have a tournament. So that does give me hope. Thank you for letting me know. I've been meaning to show my wife Mortal Kombat for a while now. I don't know if she's going to like it. And on the last live stream, we watched some Mortal Kombat together. So, all right. Skylar Wheelock says, being that we just had a heat wave here in Ohio, name some movies set in hot climates where you almost feel the heat. My picks are Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003, Holes, that episode of Better Call Saul where they get stuck in the desert. Ooh, those are all good picks, man. Those are good picks. Flight of the Phoenix. I know that's not the best thing to. I know that's not the best movie to pick from, but Flight of the Phoenix, where they get trapped in the desert and they have to rebuild a plane out of scraps. It makes you. Just talking about it made me thirsty. I needed some water. Oh, I was getting dehydrated just thinking about it and thinking about Holes. Oh man, but. You did mention one of my favorite TV episodes of all time, and that is in Better Call Saul, where Mike Ehrmantraut and Saul Goodman get trapped into the desert, and they have to carry duffel bags of money back to whatever. They have to survive the desert for like 3 days. And at one point, Saul Goodman's drinking his own urine. I quite enjoy it. So I think you encapsulated like what I would probably pick. Lyrical X says Falling Down. Falling Down also is very hot. Yes. His AC's broken. He's pissed off. He's having a bad day. It takes place in LA and it just has this warm look to it. And that's what I miss about movies. They used to have a look to them. Fallout or did I say Fallout or Falling Down? Falling Down movie. There it is. I was going to show you an image from it. Yeah, it just has this warm look. You can just tell it's like hot. Also, I'll tell you another one in a second. Yeah, just look at this right here. Like, look at that. Doesn't that just look warm? Anyway, yeah, I agree with you on that. Also, the movie Hustle and Flow. In the beginning of the movie, he's in his car and it's all hot and sweaty and it takes place in Memphis, Tennessee, and he's pimping and it just looks all hot. And then his lady friend's like, he's got AC in his car, DJ. Why don't you? You know, it's just, I like that. Michael Flores says, hey, John, I was wondering what you think of Miracle Mile with Tim Robbins. I saw it with my dad and it freaks me the hell out. What is it? Miracle Mile? I don't remember Miracle Mile. Yeah, I don't remember seeing Miracle Mile. I don't remember this movie from 1988. I don't think it has Tim Robbins in it, man. I think you were confused. The guy kind of looks like Tim Robbins. Or is he like a supporting character? Yeah, I don't think Miracle Mile has Tim Robbins in it. Yeah, it stars Anthony Edwards, Mar Winningham, and John Agar. Yeah, but the guy kind of looks like Tim Robbins, so yeah, that's what I'm looking at there. He kind of looks like it. I don't know. So yeah, I've never seen it. Okay, the next one comes from. Ooh, it's gonna be a long live stream. Okay, let's go to the next one. The next one comes from. The movie guy who says, my sisters forced me to watch Hellraiser when I was 6 or 7. Not much scared me or worried me after that movie. You know, the weird thing is, I'm not a big fan of Hellraiser, the first Hellraiser movie. I'm just not. It promises this like crazy, trippy, surreal experience with this demonic demon hell pinhead. And like the cover art is awesome. And then you watch the movie and it's about this unlikable couple. And then there's like 3 minutes of Pinhead in the movie. I think it's the biggest debauchery against filmography I've ever seen. Like, was anyone else disappointed the first time they watched Hellraiser, or was it just me? I thought the antagonist would actually be in the movie doing things, not just like 4 clips of him doing things. It felt like, to me, the thing about Hellraiser, to me, it felt like it was going to be an entirely different movie. And someone said, yeah, this sucks. We have to inject some kind of tormentor in this film that can go side by side with someone like Freddy Krueger and stand out. And it feels like they just did reshoots and tacked it into the movie to make Hellraiser. Maybe that's a weird theory, and I don't think that's true, but that's what the movie always felt like to me. Michael Flores says, sorry, I thought it was Tim Robbins, but it's an apocalyptic movie. You should watch it. Interesting. John never met a name he couldn't mispronounce. I'll mispronounce everything. I feel like all name pronunciation is subjective. I don't feel like there's any actual right way to say it, because I feel like someone with that same last name will say it differently than someone else with the same last name. So I think it's all open to interpretation. And if you don't want it mispronounced, get an easier last name to pronounce. All right? People say Flickinger, they get my last name wrong all the time. And I'm okay with it. That's why you can refer to me as the Flick Pick. All right, the next one comes from Michael Witherspoon, who has been a member for 42 months, who says, hey, John, thanks for being the big bro I never had. Well, man, thanks for being my little bro. Sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? I hear that a lot. I do hear that a lot. But hey, man, thanks for watching. I do my best. I'll be your big bro. I'll keep you under my wing all safe at night. That's just getting weird. But man, hey, thanks for that. Jack Eden says, I have a backlit poster frame and some double-sided posters. It makes the posters look amazing, as well as adding a nice detail to my theater room. If you don't have any, I think you would like them. Oh, dude, if I had the space and the proper area for an actual dedicated theater room, oh, you bet your ass I would have lit up double-sided posters. Yes, I would. The hallways would be lined with them. Jason says, any good ideas for a thing I could do with my last few days? What would you do, John? I'm 42. If I only had a few days to live, which I don't think you do, but if you did, I guess you just hang out with the ones you care about most, and then at the very end of it, you get into a plane without a parachute and you jump out. That's what you do, man. You go out in an epic blaze of glory. I've always wanted to go on a high-speed chase. I'm not going to lie to you. Just putting that out there as well. Like you steal a really fast car. Oh. Robert Giacinta. I know it's Giacinta. Robert Giacinta says, what would be a better film to show my 5-year-old? Irreversible or the first Toy Story? Maybe a double feature. Absolutely. I would start with Toy Story, though. Leave it on a downer note. They should have a Toy Story version of Irreversible. What do you say about that, huh? Woody seeks vengeance for what happened to Little Bo Peep? Just saying, Pixar. Could be the plot to Toy Story 6. Okay, the next one comes from Michael Witherspoon, who says, hey, John, thoughts on WWE wrestler that died in 2007 that no one talks about? I don't know if I've heard you give much insight on him before. Also, Keep one, delete one from wrestling. Triple H or The Undertaker, thank you. Well, man, okay, so we're talking about Chris Benoit, who basically took out his family, then himself. And it's really unfortunate. I thought that was crazy and bizarre and definitely cast a shadow. And I think the guy had a lot of mental trauma issues from years of abuse. So he was clearly psychotic in some degree. But if I had to listen, the thing with Triple H is Triple H was never the guy. Triple H was the guy that the guy worked with. He was always a good opponent, but I didn't necessarily care about a Triple H match unless somebody else was involved. Then I thought it was going to be a good match. But I will say I like what Triple H is doing with WWE for the most part, creatively speaking. I think he's probably the best guy for the job as the creative CFO? Creative, whatever it is, his role at WWE right now. And chief of creative, I think that's his role. And I think he's good in that. I liked me some Triple H. I think he has a good mind for it. But The Undertaker, how do you replicate The Undertaker? No one could do what he did. So it's too hard to pick. I think the Undertaker matches, I think Undertaker had way more memorable matches. If you just look at some of his WrestleMania matches with Shawn Michaels, or you go to Bad Blood 1997 with the first Hell in a Cell match, I thought that was phenomenal. But he also had some pretty shitty matches too. They weren't necessarily his fault, but yeah, I don't know. Can we just keep them both? All right. The next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, in the Pirates of the Caribbean series, there are sea monsters and mythical creatures, but the ultimate villain ends up being a capitalistic company. Do you think that reflects on the real-world power dynamics in a surprisingly realistic way? Yeah. Yes, I do. And funny story, we're actually rewatching the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, though I do hate a majority of them. We're on two. I don't think I'm going to watch at World's End. I just don't. But we're on Pirates of the Caribbean 2, and the first one's phenomenal. But what is the corporate conglomerate in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies? The East Trading Company or something like that? Is that what you're referring to? It's been a while since I've watched anything past the second Pirates of the Caribbean movie. But the Kraken's about to happen, so there's that. He strapped two sea turtles together. Jack Iden says, have you watched The Bear Season 4? Just came out, and I had to watch Squid Game Season 3 first. I have not watched The Bear. I don't know anything about the show. I've heard people talk about it. Never seen it, never watched it. Juan Dowd says, what do you think about the new Toxic Avenger trailer? It looks wild and gory. I don't know if I watched maybe I saw the trailer with Peter Dinklage being the mini Toxic Avenger. I definitely want to check out the movie, man. But I have not. I think I've seen the trailer, maybe. Is it brand new? I saw something. Dutch East Trading Company. Sorry, yes. All right, let's go to the next one here. The movie guy says, do you think Robert Pattinson would be a good Q in the new Bond film? That's interesting. I don't know if they would just make Robert Pattinson Q in a new James Bond film. Though do you almost feel like Robert Pattinson could play James Bond? I feel like he almost... It kind of sucks that he's not like 6 years younger than he is. And I could see them wanting him to play a James Bond in the new James Bond movie. I'd much rather see that than Tom Holland do it. But I don't think they'd waste him on just a secondary character. Or maybe they would. I mean, he kind of played a secondary character in Tenet. So Daniel Martin says, John, would you rather have Matt Reeves, the Batman, as your or would Ben Affleck's proposed idea for the movie with the same name rumored to be the best Bat script? Hey, the biggest detriment in cinematic history is the fact that Ben Affleck never got to be in a solo outing as the Caped Crusader. And originally they said that was going to be like James Bond meets Batman with Deathstroke in there. And they had some concept images from Ben Affleck in his new bat suit, and it looked awesome. It looked exactly like you would imagine if you said James Bond meets Batman. And it just baffles my brain that we never got that movie. Hey, here's a $1 billion movie that we could make and everyone would love it and it'd do very well at the box office. Do you guys want to make it? No? Fuck no. No, we're going to make Joss Whedon's Justice League. Shut the fuck up with that, okay? That's what the people want to see. Yeah. To me, the fact we never got that movie it makes you question a lot of things that studios do. So yes, I would much rather have had that. Skylar Wheelock says, what is something that is widely accepted by society but deeply bothers you? The fact that we keep giving people money for nothing. You work your ass off, and then somebody takes 30% of all of your income because. And I feel like we're being taxed. We're taxed on everything, and we just accept it. Why? If we all just said, no, there's nothing they could do about it. You have to understand, when it comes to authority, we outnumber them 100,000 to 1. I don't know why we listen to them. I don't know why we don't mandate the rules and decide what's right and wrong. But we listen to these other people who are millionaires deciding our fates. And we basically are sheep led to the slaughterhouse with a smile on our face while we watch Netflix and scroll on TikTok. That's what's happening to us as a society. We are sheep. We need to wake up. And I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. But anyway, I hate that we pay taxes. I really do. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. Why do we do it? All right, let's go to the next one here. The next one comes from Michael Witherspoon, who says, okay, John, let me ask you a real important question here, and that is, what would your death row / final meal, drink, food, etc. be? Plus, you can tell us what you think is the most overrated fast food place out there. Also, I never said thank you. I don't know. I'd probably go with like a filet with some mashed potatoes and something juicy. I don't know. I was going to say broccoli, but that sounds really crappy for a last meal. I don't know. But do I also get a dessert? Because I might need some pudding with some whipped cream on it. I love me some pudding. Probably go with that. Most overrated restaurant? I don't know. Overrated. Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A has gotten grosser every time I've went there. The chicken tastes like salt. It just tastes salty. It's not very fulfilling. And it just never quite hits the spot like it used to. I swear it is different and it has gotten disgusting. Their chicken tastes like it comes from like a can at this point. So I'm going to go Chick-fil-A at this point in my life. All right. The other thing. Oh, someone said backing into parking spaces. Yes, that too. There's a lot of things about society that deeply bother me. There is. Okay, the next one comes from Your Name Here, who says, John, got homemade, what? Oh, John, got home, what? John, I got home from F1, good movie, was waiting for Anton to make a silenced shotgun to the board member. I don't get what you're saying to me right now. I'm sorry. I was waiting for Anton to make a silenced shotgun to the... I don't know. It is getting late. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. Can you elaborate on that at some point? Bradley Pooper says, Disneyland is awesome. Listen to your wife. No, I'd rather go to Disney World, man. Come on. What are you talking about? Disneyland's just what you do when you live in California and you don't want to buy plane tickets. That's where you go. ADSD Vid says, please suffer through Ironheart for a video, please. I can't do it, man. I'm sorry. I can probably say I'll never watch any MCU series anytime soon. And Ironheart is just one thing I don't care about. I probably never will care about it. And I don't want to watch it. I just don't have the time to watch it. I'm too busy watching Airborne from 1993. Oh, No Country for Old Men reference. Oh, okay. Okay, dude. We can't get this witty this late at night, okay? After 12 o'clock, my brain starts turning to mush. Neil McCauley says, hey, John, I've been in a depressive existential funk lately, man. Shit sucks. How are you doing? How's the mental health been? Hope all is well. Oh, dude, I have crazy amounts of anxiety that loom in the back of the recesses of my brain every day. I assure you, I overthink everything and I'm almost paralyzed with fear when I wake up. But you just have to tuck that all deep down inside and keep on going. The way I look at life is we're all just playing a video game. We're in Grand Theft Auto. We're playing a video game. There's rules and limitations, but you ultimately can control your own destiny. And that's the way I look at it. I really do. So I get it. The trick to life is, I'm going to tell you the trick. You have to give yourself little bullet points to look forward to in life. Like once a month, every 2 weeks, just give yourself something to look forward to. And then you grind through all the downtime, and then you get to that thing that you want to do, and it's fun. And then you have another thing that you want to do. You just have to have things that separate the monotony in life. And Bradley Pooper has become a member. Yay! Thanks, Bradley Pooper. All right. Dustin Rich says, no one else cares about Ironheart either. Yeah, I don't think anyone does. And I think when they step back and they look at the viewership numbers on Ironheart and the fact that they probably spent $40 million on each episode, I don't know what they spent. Actually, that's a good, I'm gonna see what they spent. Budget for Ironheart. Oh my, okay. The budget for Ironheart on a Disney Plus series was around $100 to $150 million for its 6 episodes. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think they're ever going to recoup their money for 6 episodes of a generic TV series with a third-rate character that probably 3 people might like? Do you think that's going to do anything for Disney Plus? Do you think anyone they said, you know what? It's been 5 years, and today's the day I'm going to subscribe to Disney Plus because they have 6 episodes of Ironheart out. I didn't want to subscribe for The Mandalorian. I didn't want to subscribe for She-Hulk, but Ironheart, today's the day. Let's do it. Let's pay $8 a month for this. Like, no! $150 million for that. You could make like 10 good movies for that. You really could. This is not reality, is it? Anyway, let's go to the next one here. Neil McCauley says, hey, John. Oh, we already answered that. Already answered this. Skylar Wheelock says, is the lesson in The Prestige that no matter how many times you repeat something, it'll never be perfect? Or is there a deeper message that the film is trying to convey? In the movie The Prestige, it's kind of one of those things where ego gets you. Do you always have to have the prestige? Or are you the man in the box? Or ultimately, what sacrifice are you willing to make to protect the illusion and give the audience what they want? I think there's a lot of questionable things that you could ask yourself from a moral standpoint. But I think there's a few deep messages in there. It's how you want to interpret it. Dominican Scott says, Transformers Age of Extinction is underrated. You're a liar. You are a liar. It's one of the worst movies ever made. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Claudia Rogajan, who says, speaking of the Batman 2, isn't it astounding that Christopher Nolan was able to crank out the sequel to Batman Begins in 3 years and also make an entirely other movie in between that, but it took Matt Reeves this long to come up with a sequel script? It baffles my brain as well. Clearly he put it off, and as a guy who procrastinates quite a bit, I understand that. But man, 4 years to make a script. Well, 22, 23, 24, 3 years to make a script or whatever. Yeah, the fact that it took him that long, he should have had the outline for that script ready to go within like 2 weeks after the movie got greenlit. And it was greenlit within the first month it came out, or the first week or whatever. So yeah, how it took him 3 years, I'll never know. But hey, if for anything else, if he took 3 years to perfect this screenplay and get it right, and it's the ultimate Batman movie of all time, then so be it. You know, I'd rather them take their time in making the perfect Batman movie than rushing out a mediocre one. So if Batman 2 is in fact great and it blows me away when I see it, then those 3 years were definitely worth the wait. If it comes out and it's just like, it's okay, you know, then I'm going to be like, what the hell did you do for 3 years, man? So only time will tell. All right, the next one comes from the movie guy who says, A Bug's Life or Ants. Listen, I like Ants. I do think it's underrated, but I just enjoy watching A Bug's Life a bit more. I do, but I do like Ants. I do. I mean, the one ant is voiced by Sylvester Stallone. It's a good time. Jake Talman says, thoughts on Michael Bay coming back to Transformers. Could be nostalgia talking, but I'd love that, especially if the OG cast came back. It'd be hella fun. And by the way, the movie guy, I forgot to give you your special super duper party popper, and this is just for you. And the big question for you is, which one do you like more, Bug's Life or Ants? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to party. Should I do it like, should I party pop my head? Let's do something crazy with this party popper. I don't know what to, I'll just party pop it up. You guys ready? I'm going to shoot it right at you. Ooh, yeah. That was a good, look at the smoke emanating from that bad boy. That is a party popper. Okay. That was a good one. All right. Let's go to the next one here. But as far as the Michael Bay coming back to direct Transformers, didn't those movies just progressively get worse and worse? And I don't think Michael Bay's involvement is going to help much, but the only thing it's going to do is it's going to get more media attention and it's going to have more explosions in it. And it'll look better in a trailer when it says from director Michael Bay, who directed Armageddon and Ambulance. No one cares about. So I think we had enough Michael Bay Transformers movies. What I would like to see is a good Transformers movie by like a really competent director. And not just one of these like Beast War junky movies that come out, you know? So I don't feel like Michael Bay's done anything great in the last decade, to be honest with you. I don't really feel like Michael Bay's done anything great in the last like 20 years. I mean, I do like the 2007 Transformers movie, but man, other than that, I mean, before that, the last great thing Michael Bay did was The Island. And that was like 2005. So it doesn't get me that excited, but hey, at least if you're going to have a bad Transformers movie, you might as well have Michael Bay direct it. At least you know it's going to be a bombastic bad Transformers movie. Daniel Martin says, John, what do you think of theater chains showing Jurassic World Rebirth as a screen unseen movie? The turnout was excellent, step in the right direction. So yeah, if you guys didn't know, movie theater chains have something called like Mystery Movie Monday. So you buy tickets, you don't know what the movie's going to be, but sometimes they show a big new movie or they might show a smaller independent film that needs some buzz. And this last mystery movie was Jurassic World Rebirth. Now, I sort of knew it was going to be that for a week ahead of time. So that's why I drove 3.5 hours to Detroit, Michigan to see an early screening of it. And plus that same night as that mystery movie Monday, I had to go to WWE Raw in Columbus, Ohio. And the coolest thing about that is a dude who talks about movies. And since I have press status, Netflix reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to come see WWE in Columbus? Because that's usually where I go see screenings of my movies. So I got free WWE tickets. So that was kind of cool. I never thought that would happen. And I did make an Instagram reel covering the event. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, check it out. It's there. But going to your question, I do think that's really cool. And I think they should do that with more movies, especially bigger movies. Because before Jurassic World, the last big film that they showed during a Mystery Movie Monday was Gladiator 2. So I think it's cool that they're doing that. I think it just would have been probably better if it was a better movie. like if Jurassic World was awesome, then that would have been awesome to watch. But yeah, I think I do like the concept. I go to pretty much every Mystery Movie Monday that I can. Even if it's a mediocre movie, I still enjoy it. I like not knowing exactly what I'm about to watch. And sometimes you're pleasantly surprised. The next one comes from Sal, who says, hey, John, NYT did their 100 best films of the century, and they allowed people to make their own list of the 10 best of the century. I was curious to know. What are you curious to know? If I read the list or what my top 10 are? I've said it once, I'll say it again. I will make a top 20 favorite movies of all time for my 15-year anniversary on YouTube. I will do that. But in that list, you're going to have Forrest Gump, Shawshank Redemption. You're going to have T2 Judgment Day. Silence of the Lambs will probably be my top 10 with a few others. So those are a couple of my top 10. But I have not seen this list that you're talking about. I'll quickly look it up, though. What is it? New York Times Best 100. All right, let's check it out here. Let's see what... Oh, God, what is this? Okay, here it is. I'll go over this very quick. Okay, here are the New York Times top 100 movies of all time list, and someone put this list together on Letterboxd. I don't know if this is accurate, but I'm just going to use this list here. So did they have number 1 at Parasite? Is this the right list? Can someone let me know? Then you had Mulholland Drive. Then There Will Be Blood. I'm not going to go through the entire list, but Get Out at number 8 of the 100 best movies. Is this of all time? Of the 21st century. Okay. That makes... Okay, so top 100 movies of the 21st century. Okay, that makes more sense. All right. Okay. Mad Max Fury Road's in number 11. Spirited Away. Yeah, Moonlight. Yeah. Moonlight was in the top 5 movies of the last 20 years. Okay. A fucking movie that won an award that no one talked about ever again, nor cared about, nor referenced ever again. Fine movie, not Best Picture winner of the year, and definitely not in the top 5. Sorry. If you want to make it 99, we'll go with that, but I would disagree with that. You had Her. Okay. Adaptation, The Dark Knight, number 28. Okay. Departed. I mean, 90% of these movies I'd probably put in the list as well. Yet Moonlight is excellent. Is it in the top 5 movies of the 21st century? Ask yourself that right now. That's the question. Superbad. Superbad at 100 I like. The fact that this is on the list, that I think that's a good sign that this isn't some pretentious list of someone putting art house films in there. So I liked that Superbad's in there. I think it's definitely one of the best comedies of the last 20 years. Okay, well, interesting list. Whiplash is at number 60. Yeah, a lot of these I would agree with. I don't know if I agree with the order necessarily, but I think there's some good picks in here. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from... here we go. Night King 01 says, we had our Drive mention in the stream. I honestly thought it was a joke, but Drive is never mentioned on here. Drive mentioned where? In my live streams or in my life? What are you talking about? I love Drive. I talk about it all the time. What are you talking about? I wear the Drive jacket sometimes. What are we talking about? Night King 01's, are you confused why he brought up Drive like I wouldn't like it over Baby Driver? I don't know. Night King 01 says, what I want is a book-accurate James Bond, alcoholic, weathered, and teetering on the edge secret agent who is one step away from his life falling apart, but what we keep going to is his commitment to saving others. I want a damaged Bond, book accurate. You know, I always was aware of that interpretation of James Bond as well, and I never read the 007 books or anything like that. But I would be okay with that. I would like an alcoholic James Bond who just has to pull his shit together every once in a while to get the job done. I think that would be great. They've touched on that ever so slightly in a few of the movies, but to a very light degree. But I agree with you. Sal says, between 2019, 2014, 1999, 1994, how would you rank these years as the best for film? I think 1994 and 1999 are probably the two that you got to put in the running ultimately. 2019, 2014 had some good stuff. I mean, Nightcrawler was in 2014. Whiplash was in 2014. 2019, you had Parasite. But 1999, you had Fight Club. You had The Matrix. But going back to 1994, man, you have three of my favorite movies of all time. You have Forrest Gump, Pulp Fiction, Shawshank Redemption. 1994 wins. All right. Jake Talman says, Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise is so underrated. Absolutely. It's definitely gotten a cult following over the last like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. It came out, what, 2014? That came out in 2014, right? And what year is it? So 11 years ago. Okay. It's getting late. The fact that we don't have a sequel, I don't understand why. I just make a sequel to that. If you can spend $150 million and just flush that money down the toilet, Disney Plus, I'm sure some other studio can find $150 million to make what could arguably be one of the best sci-fi sequels of the last decade. So hopefully one day we get it. Maybe Amazon can acquire the rights and make it happen. Your name here says, just got home from F1, was watching Anton to bust out a silent shotgun on the antagonist. Okay, yes. Okay, yeah, I get it. Yes. Javier Bardem is in F1. Javier Bardem was the antagonist in No Country for Old Men. The connection is making sense to my brain now. But yeah, man. I didn't think he did much in the role, though. Javier Bardem in that movie, just like, here's a guy. All right, the movie guy is back at it again, who says, Three Body Problem is not a perfect show, but the build-up to episode 6 is really good. The last 2 episodes is where some people thought it tanked. I still recommend it, so I hope you watch it. I'll check into it, man. If the first episode or 2 can sell me, I will continue it. That's usually my rule. I'll give any show 2 episodes. If you haven't done anything to make me want to watch episode 3 by that point, that's on you. That's not on me. That's on you. It's like a movie. If the first 2 acts don't make you want to watch the third act, well, it has failed as a movie. And nothing else they do matters at that point. All right, so I'll definitely check it out, man. And once again, movie guy, thank you for the question, and you get a party popper right there. You want another one? There's another one just for you, movie guy. All right, why are they getting so violent? I don't know. All right, let's go to the next question here. And thank you guys all for still watching. It's 12:40 at night. It's technically Monday morning right now. either you don't have to go to work tomorrow or it's summer vacation for you and you don't have to wake up and go to school. But either way, thanks for hanging out and talking about movies. And I'm trying to catch up on the questions as quick as I can. I'm about 40 minutes behind. I'm going to go way quicker now. Your name here says, just got home. Oh, I lied to you. Okay. Sebastian says, how are you feeling about Cliff Booth's sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? David Fincher is an odd choice, but maybe it'll turn out great. It seems like everything that Netflix is doing is like they're including David Fincher in everything. He's a producer. He's a director. It's like everything David Fincher. So he clearly signed a big deal with Netflix where they probably paid him every bit of money that he wanted and said, hey, you can make any kind of movie you want. Just attach your name to everything that we're doing. But with all that said, if you can't have Tarantino, I'll take Fincher, and I think he'll at least get it right. And Fincher doesn't pull punches as a director. Plus his storytelling, his cinematography, top notch. He gives a shit about the movies that he makes. So I'm looking forward to it. I loved Cliff Booth in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Him and Rick Dalton are two of my favorite buddies that have ever teamed up in a movie in a very long time. So I'm definitely interested in it. And by the way, speaking of Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt in F1 definitely gave me very strong Cliff Booth vibes. Oh, and by the way, the thing I wanted to mention about F1 was there's literally a monologue from Brad Pitt's character where it just, I wouldn't say it's that well written, and it kind of felt soulless and empty. And I get what they were going for, but he gives this monologue, and it's the same monologue that Dom Toretto gives in Fast and Furious, where he's talking about on the racetrack, everything just disappears. And it's just like the same thing Dom Toretto said in Fast and Furious 1. So I just remembered that. I was going to mention that in my review, but I ended up just making a Flick Trip video instead. Because sometimes I find making reviews very monotonous and tedious, and they're just not very fun. So I'd rather make a Flick Trip video talking about the movie instead. All right, we got one here from Alan Smithy, who says, Yo, Flickinger, love the show. King Kong 2005 is having its 20th anniversary this year. Are you a fan? Have you seen Peter Jackson's early films like Bad Taste or Dead Alive? Those movies rule. Peace. I have not seen Bad Taste or Dead Alive when it comes to early Peter Jackson movies, man. I have not seen those. I'm trying to think back. Frighteners was 1995. There's some Peter Jackson. There's early Peter Jackson movies I'm not familiar with. I mean, I should watch them at some point. But as far as King Kong 2005, I've always liked the movie. Okay, I'll start with that. But I really, really enjoy the movie once they get on the boat and finally get to the island. I immensely enjoy it more once it gets to that point. That first 45 minutes, hour, where they're in New York, they're on the boat. It's it takes a little bit of time, but once they finally get there and you get the crescendo, you get Kong and you get the creepy natives that look like they're covered in mud and chocolate pudding. That's great stuff. Also, another Jack Black movie. But the thing that always sort of was a little on the nose for me is the third act always feels a bit rushed in that film. I think they could have done a little more once they bring Kong back and display him. And that final line delivery by Jack Black where he goes, "It was beauty that killed the beast." I'm like, we didn't need that. But I like the movie. And thanks for the question, Alan Smithy. So you also get a party popper. You ready for it? All right. Nick Koss. How's it going, Nick Koss? Can you please quote Nick Cage in your Nick Nolte voice? And here's what Nick Koss wants me to say. You asked this super chat an hour ago, so here it goes. Oh, this is hard to do in my Nick Nolte voice. Can I take a drink of my caffeinated beverage before I do it? Here we go. What's in the bag? A shark or something? And that's your party popper, Nick Koss. Thank you for the question. Or more of a a demand, if you will. But hey, you guys want me to do my Nick Nolte voice? It's the least I can do for you. So thanks for the question, man. I never thought, you know what, here's the thing that's baffling to me. I never thought I could earn a living doing shitty Nick Nolte impressions on the internet. That's one thing as a kid, if you told me one day I would be doing, I would be like, first and foremost, you're utterly insane. And what kind of weird place am I in life where I do that? But here I am with Party Poppers doing Nick Nolte impressions. So thank you guys for watching. All right, let's go to the next one here. David says, hey, John. Not much to say, unfortunately. I do not have a question. Just want to say thank you for the fun memories over the years. Well, David, thanks for watching, man, over the years. And we're not going anywhere. You know, I got plenty of shit left to say. So I got at least 10 years left in me, I would say. Maybe 20. But we'll go with 10. I think I can do 10. But thanks for that, man. Thank you, David, for the warm, tingly comment. And that does make me feel good, man. Bruce Cook says, Dustin Rich says, good night, John. Well, good night, Dustin. Thanks for joining me, man. Sleep tight. And he also says, Transformers movie from 1986 is the only Transformers movie, period. You know, it's been a long time since I've seen that, but I love the music in it. All right, let's go to the next one. And the next one comes from Sebastian, who says, would you rather see Michael Bay's Inception or Wes Anderson's Saving Private Ryan? That is a great question. It really, I can almost imagine Wes Anderson's Saving Private Ryan. I really could see that visually in my brain. Yeah, I could. Yeah, all faded with like miniatures and shit. Oh man, I don't know. Now, if it was a Paul Thomas Anderson Saving Private Ryan, that would be pretty awesome. But Wes Anderson, I don't know. It would star like George Clooney, and it would look like it was shot on clearly like a stage play set. But Michael Bay directing Inception, now that, I'm not saying it would be good. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is it would definitely be interesting. Could you imagine Inception, but from the mind of Michael Bay? Oh, man. Oh, man. You know what? I think I would like to see that. I would like to see that. Give me that. Just dog poop jokes and all kinds of randomness happening. Just, it's all tonally all over the place. I'd actually like to see it. But Hans Zimmer would probably still do the score, just putting it out there. David says, hey, John, not much to say, unfortunately. I have no question. Just want to say thanks for the fun. Oh, I just answered that. Come on. But you're welcome. Sal says, what is your favorite video game, and have you played it any recently? Like my favorite video game of all time? You know, for me, it's Super Mario World will always be the ultimate video game for me on the SNES. I still occasionally play it when life gets a little hectic. I played it on my retro classic SNES that has like 19 games on it. Zombies Ate My Neighbors has always been a really fun game I've enjoyed. Turtles in Time was another great classic. I think nostalgia-wise, those would probably be my go-tos. I've always enjoyed racing games too, but right now, all I play is Rocket League, and I play Call of Duty Warzone occasionally when my friends are online. So, but mostly I just play Rocket League now. But I've been looking for like a new good immersive game to play, like something with an open world where I can just explore and hang out. I wanted to play Red Dead Redemption 2. I thought about getting that. And with the new Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out, if it ever does come out at some point, I would like to play that as well. But I don't want to do any of the missions. I just want to drive around. You know, that's all I want to do. Destin Rich says Michael Bay Inception would have 500% more supermodels in lingerie at least. It absolutely would, yes. There would be nothing but Victoria's Secret supermodels on Cobb's team. And let's be honest, if Leonardo DiCaprio had his way, that's all there would be as well. And they'd all be under the age of 22. All right, let's go to the next one here. The movie guy says Predator 2 opening scene is hot AF. What was the Predator 2 opening scene? I've seen the movie once. Wasn't there like a drug deal gone wrong? What was the opening scene to Predator 2? I don't remember it. Or was there a shootout on the street? Or something like that. Wasn't there like a shootout in the street? Or am I crazy? I don't remember. All right, let's go to the next one here. Jimmy Shoes says, highly recommend The Vanishing from 1988. Kubrick said it has the scariest ending he's ever seen. Also, you'll love the song Hey God by Bon Jovi. I've heard that. I do like that. I like all Bon Jovi, man. The Vanishing, 1988. I've seen it. Vanishing 88. Wait. Maybe I haven't seen it. Here's The Vanishing, 1988. The Vanishing 88, Dutch movie that, not exaggerating, might be the best psychological thriller I've ever seen. Okay. You know what? I don't think I have seen this. You just might have sold me on this. Okay, I'll check it out, man. I'm going to favorite that, and I'm going to check it out at some point. So thanks for the recommendation. I thought I saw this at some point in my life, but no, I don't. This is the cover I remember. So yeah, I don't think I've seen this. So thanks for the recommendation. I'll check it out. The Night King 01 says, have you ever seen The 25th Hour with Edward Norton? There's a monologue in that film called F.U. Monologue where Edward Norton vents his anger at all the society and himself in the mirror. I have seen The 25th Hour. He literally has like a day before he goes to prison and he's trying to get everything in order. I have seen the movie. I don't specifically remember that monologue you're talking about, but I have seen it. Yeah, maybe. Okay. I wouldn't mind rechecking it out again, but I like me some Edward Norton. And speaking of that, I did watch, speaking of other movies from the 90s, I watched Rounder starring Matt Damon and Edward Norton where he plays like a shitty best friend character. If you've never seen Rounders, definitely highly recommend checking out. John Malkovich plays this Russian loan shark gambler character. And his accent is, I don't know if it's the best thing I've ever heard or maybe the worst, but I quite enjoyed it. So yeah, check out Rounders, but I do want to rewatch 25th Hour. All right. The next one comes from Just Cash Out says, hey, John, thoughts on the movie Rear Window 1954? Oh, man. I'm trying to think. Yeah, okay, God, my brain was melting. Yes, Rear Window, Alfred Hitchcock. I've seen it once. I probably watched it 20 years ago. I do remember when they're shooting all of the scenes and he's looking at his neighbors in this apartment complex area. Now, keep in mind, they shot all of this inside of a studio. And for a 1954 film that was shot in a studio, the way that they do all the production quality and the lighting and the sun, it looks top notch. But you watch it now and you can tell like they're in a studio and he's looking across. But I liked the movie, but I have not seen it for 20 years. And then we got the Shia LaBeouf modern day interpretation of this called Disturbia. But yeah, James Stewart's in the movie. It's on Netflix right now. Yeah, I do want to go back. There's a lot of Hitchcock movies I've not seen, but I would like to go back and revisit them. But I remember liking it. All right, the next one comes from Gene Philippi Gurin. Gene, you know I can't read. I tried my best. Hey, John, longtime fan here. What mysteries of the universe keep you up at night? Oh, the mysteries of the universe? I don't know, man. What is reality? What is this reality that we live in? You know, statistically speaking, the fact that we exist on the planet Earth, the odds of that are so statistically astronomical that it would be the equivalent of one human being winning the lottery 57 times in their lifetime. That's the odds that we exist on this rock flying through the void of space. It doesn't make any sense. And the fact that we got lucky enough to be this bacteria that developed into something after hundreds of millions of years of evolution, and there were dinosaurs and Neanderthals, and now we have iPhones, and now I'm here talking to you on the internet. To me, that is baffling. And I don't feel like there's something else happening here. I don't know. But ultimately, I would like to know where the existence of life in the universe came from and what is the origin of it. That would be the mystery I would love the answer to. Outside of that, I'm cool. All right. Let's go to the next one. Danny says he loves Disturbia and Rear Window. Yeah, I think Disturbia is a fun, good time, man. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from... And by the way, thank you for the question, the very thought-provoking question. If I had more time to delve into it, I would. But here's your party popper for your very thought-provoking question. Ooh, I got a little stringy on my screen right here. Here you go. Put that right there just for you guys. I'm going to dingle it right here. All right, let's go to the next one. And the next one comes from Night King 01, who says, do you remember that the WWE storyline where Rikishi tried to commit vehicular manslaughter against Stone Cold, revealing it was The Rock who orchestrated it, but it turns out he was lying and said it was Triple H? I love convoluted wrestling plots. Oh yeah, I remember at one point, Vince McMahon, you thought he died in an explosion, but then 9/11 happened and they thought that was just too dark, so he just came back to life the next week. You gotta love pro wrestling storylines. But it all makes sense when you watch it. And how do they solve their problems? Well, they oil themselves up in baby oil, and physical brutality in the ring is how you answer all of the problems. That's how you resolve differences, okay? And if only society could do the same thing, it would be great. Sebastian says, would Ryan Gosling be a good Mr. Freeze? You know what? If you were to shave his head, I could see Ryan Gosling playing a Mr. Freeze. I could buy that. I would be okay with that. I really would. Yeah, I'm going to go with it. I could see that. Plus, he doesn't have to talk that much, and he always has sort of a stoic, distant look in his eyes. Yeah, and we know he can play kind of a sociopath, so yeah, I'm okay with that. The movie guy says, I absolutely think Pattinson could play Bond. Yeah, I think he's just like a hair too old for the role because they want a new James Bond that they can have in the next 5 movies. And when you have Robert Pattinson, who's like 40 years old now, it's like, ugh, if it was 10 years ago, I think that's who would be your new James Bond. I really do. Night King 01 says, what is it like experiencing Triple H's reign of terror in real time? I don't mind him in a creative lead in WWE. I think he gets it. I think he understands what performers need to do and what works typically. But keep in mind, WWE has 50 writers that are just working every day. He sort of just picks and chooses the best ideas. And I don't know anyone else who could replace him in the role that he's in. I really don't. So I take the good with the bad, but I think ultimately he is a good choice to be in charge right now. The movie guy says, hey, John, I don't like thinking about 2015 being 10 years ago. You and I both, man. For me, the golden era of YouTube and life sort of peaked around 2014, 2015. And just like a switch, somebody clicked a switch on the internet. And then from there, it just sort of got worse and worse every year. Like it lost that mystical vibe. It lost that sense of community. And I do miss it. I miss that time period on YouTube more than anything. It felt like you could just, I don't know. I just felt like everything was more fun, you know, and movies still mattered. Because ultimately, think about this, and I know I say this all the time, and I don't even know how many people are still watching right now, and it doesn't even matter. But if you are watching, I want to say thank you for watching right now. It does mean a lot. And but I want to say this about movies. In 2015, when movies came out, they still mattered. People talked about them. We would have conversations. You could make a review for a movie the day it came out. You could make a spoiler video for the movie a week after it came out, and you could still talk about the movie a month later. And now, no matter how big the movie is, no matter how beloved it is, no matter how awesome it is, it's like it comes out and it doesn't matter the next day. And I do not like that, because when the conversation for film dies, that means the profitability dies. That means the entire atmosphere that cinema exists in starts mattering less and less. And we're just so consumed with meaningless content rather than having a conversation about something that has meaning to it. I don't like that version of reality that we live in. So yes, take me back 10 years ago. I'd much prefer it. Let's go to the next question. Am I living in the past? Maybe, but I think it was better. It was a better version of reality. And if you missed it, I'm sorry. But then again, if we could go even further back, we'd have Blockbuster again. Protos X has just subscribed. Well, thank you for that, man. Jason back again says, good night, John. Have the best one. See you in the sequel. Laugh aloud. Well, thanks, Jason, for hanging out. It's not a sequel, man. This is a trilogy. Don't you go anywhere, man. And then we're going to reboot this shit and have a prequel. Night King 01 back again says, a reviewer called F1 Formula the movie. The movie has the most generic plot I think I have ever heard. Not complaining, but with this level of technical talent, can't we get a better script? I feel like all of Joseph Kosinski's films suffer from this. Oh, they definitely have a very sort of generic script, and you have to understand, though, in the genre that this exists in, the dadcore genre, I do think his formula works for F1, and I think it works for Top Gun. I will say, excuse me, let me take a drink. After 3 hours of talking, I'm a little parched. Yeah. I do think the script for F1 could have been a little better, especially going into the third act. It got a little messy. And really honestly, I'm not a guy who writes movies, but if you handed me the script to F1 and just gave me like 10 minutes to tweak it, I feel like there's just things you could make better in it. Like it'd be that easy. But ultimately, I think it's more than serviceable for the action sequences throughout the film. But I do agree, Joseph Kosinski, his next movie, I think needs a more in-depth screenplay, if you will. Daniel Martin says, John, how was Spielberg able to direct or produce movies almost every year throughout the 80s, and today's directors take like 5 years to make one movie? It's the digital effects, I'm telling you. When you shot everything in camera, in frame, there's only so much you could do post-production, you know? So if you actually have animatronics or people in costumes and you're not color grading and adding CGI that takes 2 years, I think a lot of things could have been shot quicker. Now, keep in mind, though, 80s films, the limitations of shooting it on film, it requires more lighting, more setup. But ultimately, I feel like now it comes down to everything is so VFX heavy that's where the time and also I feel like in the 80s, people could just get shit done quicker, right? There was less legal red tape. Like if you wanted to do something and you had some name recognition in Hollywood, you could make it happen. You didn't have to wait 2 years to figure out this or that. Maybe that's why. But that's a good question, man. I'm sure there's like better answers out there. That is a great question. But keep in mind, Spielberg, his name was like a producer credit on everything in the 80s, and it still is to this day. Doesn't mean he had a lot of interaction with the movie per se. Okay, the next one comes from Jason, who says, shout out to my favorite celebs, ScarJo, Marta, T Swift, Ariana Grande, Bradley Cooper, Tom Cruise, and 250 others. If you're an alien and see this message, find the replay. It's in the past. Well, that was a crazy comment. Well, thank you for that. You forgot Beyonce and P. Diddy. Night King of One says, did you revisit Days of Thunder after rewatching F1? I did not revisit Days of Thunder after F1. I like Days of Thunder, but I've never loved it. I think it's like a good movie to watch on a crappy rainy day or something, but it's been a while since I've seen it, but I do remember a lot about it. And I will say F1 definitely has some of those cliches and tropes that you see in Days of Thunder. Basically, right now, Joseph Kosinski is the modern day interpretation of Tony Scott. Okay, that's what he's doing. He's remaking everything that Tony Scott made, and there's nothing wrong with that. What is this? Theodoric says, favorite Ron Jeremy film? Oh, probably Orgasmo. Chodo boy, would you like me to get my Orgasmo radar? Do you guys know what Orgasmo is? Okay, if you don't, it's from the creators of South Park. But it also has Ron Jeremy in the movie. So there you go. Night King 01 says, have you ever seen Blood In, Blood Out? Night King 01, I'm telling you right now, me and you exist on the same matrix somewhere in reality. Because hear this out. This is crazy. You're going to love this. Probably 6 days ago, I was scrolling through on my streaming apps, looking for something kind of weird or something seedy to watch. And I watched Blood In, Blood Out. Now, I have seen the movie. The first time I watched it, my cousin rented it, and we watched it on VHS in 1994 or 5. But Blood In, Blood Out is a pretty horrific movie about, it takes place in the 1970s. It's about LA gangs, and one of the characters goes to prison. And it gets pretty dark and brutal. But I will say this about the movie. The audio mix in the movie does not sound very good, and it's a little cheesy at times, but man, it is a movie that will make you never, ever want to go to San Quentin prison for affiliating with gangs. Okay, put it that way. It gets pretty brutal, but it's a damn good movie, so definitely check it out at some point. But it's it's not the family movie. It's an acquired taste. But so yes, speaking of Blood In, Blood Out, there you go, man. Night King 01 says, John, I meant Triple H's reign of terror in the early 2000s where he would win every match. Oh, yeah, he was basically Hulk Hogan of the early 2000s. He'd put himself over every chance he got. Yeah, I remember that. And that's why I was never a big Triple H fan, like, in that time period. Let's be honest, he was probably a bit narcissistic. And when you marry the boss's daughter, well, you're going to be able to do whatever you want. And he did. And now he's the boss, so it all worked out. All right, guys. Did I answer all the questions? We got a few in here. Let's see if any YouTube members are in here, please chime in right now. I will answer your questions, or we can talk about some of the stuff in the normal chat right now for just a few seconds, because it has been a 3-hour live stream, so there's that. Danny B says, I love Blood In, Blood Out. Yeah, it's definitely a dark movie. Matt Cole says American Me. I have seen American Me. I like it. That's another movie that makes you never want to go to prison. Speaking of American Me, there's a scene. Keep in mind, this guy was a gang leader in prison for like 20 years. And he's so used to the prison environment when it comes to needs, okay, I will just leave it there, that when he gets out of prison and goes on a date with a woman for the first time, he basically like flips her over and just manhandles her. And that's how institutionalized he is. So that's what a way to leave off the live show right there with that. Anyway, GF Hostman says, John, what's the name of the song in your losers footage It was also in your live stream countdown. I don't know. Are you talking about the countdown on the live this stuff right? Is that the song you're talking about? Because that's not the song in my losers video. Or maybe it is. I don't. Oh, you're talking about the old metal music. That was some royalty-free music I used from Epidemic Sound. That had kind of like an 80s metal vibe to it. That's what that was. I don't know what the name of it is. I couldn't tell you, man. It was on Epidemic Sound. It's probably where I got it. Roger something says, as a Hispanic kid growing up and watching Blood In, Blood Out was required viewing. Yeah, I bet. See, I just had to watch Stand By Me as a kid, you know? Or Sandlot. All right, guys. I think I'm going to wrap up the live show right there. But I do want to say, guys, thank you for hanging out for the last 3+ hours. It does mean a lot. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for just looking at my stupid face. It does mean a lot. And look out for a special Jurassic World Rebirth review coming probably tomorrow or the next day. As always, thanks for watching. Have a good night. And stay safe. And I'll see you guys with a new live stream. If I can crap one out, maybe Tuesday night, I will. But if not, I will be on vacation for the next week. So we're going to miss next Friday's live stream. So just FYI. So as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.